Cena on the show as well. John Cena and AJ Styles coming to each other's aid last week. So we saw them two helping each other out. So my guess is that Cena will be in ring. He'll cut a promo. Then we will get AJ coming out and will be a little segment there. And then we've also got Street Profits taking on Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar. Still don't know the name of that group, the Bobby Street Profits group, which is a bit frustrating because it's been a good while now since they got together. So the fact that we've still not made it to a name, I kind of like the slow build of seeing them choose a wardrobe and stuff like that. But there has been some weeks where we just haven't seen like really much development. So it's a bit slow. It's a bit too slow for me. I think that it's fine to kind of take your time, have it burning away in the background, but at least every week give us something. And so there's been a few weeks where we haven't had anything at all, and we could have done with like a name. I would have liked a name by now. But at least last week we saw a big development. We saw a big step forward, and that was them attacking LWO after the match as well, which kind of very much got them across as heels. So, I'm really excited to see what we're going to do with them. I'm really excited to see kind of, are we getting another member that's going to join? Is Bobby going to go after like a top title? I don't think Bobby will be the one that ends up beating Roman, but I think Bobby should always be around that title picture. So obviously at the moment, he's just going to have to keep himself busy. Perhaps that's why we're taking the slow road. Perhaps we're taking the slow road so that Bobby can keep himself busy by just, taking ages picking a name. And then once we get past, say, WrestleMania, maybe then Bobby will start having a look at whoever the new champ is. Like Cody versus Bobby, I think would make a lot of sense. So I'm guessing that, it could go that way. But then, of course, The Rock came along and announced that he was potentially facing Roman at next year's WrestleMania. And that's kind of thrown my whole timeline out now. So I'm under the impression Cody beats Roman at WrestleMania 40. It just might not go that way. So we'll have to take it a week at a time. Let's take it a week at a time. And right now I'm disappointed that they don't have a name. What else have we got? I think that's everything that's been announced for the show. There's not tons that's been announced for tonight's show. But obviously there's tons of news over the last few days. So let's try and blast down, shall we, some of the comments, and we'll get stuck in. I guess Dolph could join his brother in AEW now. He could, yes. I would like Dolph over there. Anna said Dolph would be appreciated there. Off Tom said, if you had 2 million, what would you do with it? I have been subscribed since you had 100 subs. If I had 2 million, what would I do with it? To be honest, in this day and age, 2 million, it's a lovely amount that will change your life, but it's not doing loads. I mean, in this day and age, if you want to get like a nice house, it's probably, like an average house in this country, I think the average house price is about 250,000. So if you want a really nice house, that would be, I don't know, $250,000 to have a really nice house. Which, to be honest, because we stream at night, that is a problem that I've got going forward, is that I need to be very careful about like neighbors and not making too much noise. So you would need to have a house that wasn't like, a flat. You'd need to, not that I would, if I had 2 million though, why not spend it on a nice property where you've got a little bit of space so that I can do these streams in peace. I can make as much noise as I want. Got maybe a room just to do the recording in and everything, all of that costs money. So I definitely get a place like that. Get a nice car. You would definitely as well want to just make sure that you're kind of, you can pay your bills, you can get food and everything without even breaking a sweat, without doing anything, paying bills, foods, all of that stuff, house, car, easy million in it, easy million. And then so you basically got $1 million to like do something with, like, so it is a lot of money. And it is something that, but it is something in this day and age you would be able to easily get through, easily get through. Okay, hopefully. Yeah, this other router didn't look good. Okay, maybe a little early lag. That's all right. I'd rather have it now than during the show. So the question was, what do you think about Dolph going? The answer was, I certainly wasn't expecting the releases yesterday, but I can understand why he's on the list because I think he'd been making a few noises about potentially not re-signing, potentially starting to think about life outside of WWE. He'd been there a long time. It's quite clear where he was on the card as well. I mean, he was struggling to get on TV. I don't think creative had much for him, and even if they did have something for him, it wasn't going to be anything that juicy. It wasn't going to be something for him like, I think the days of him getting steak, like kind of juicy, is getting scraps or nothing at all. And I think he knew that because it's been this way for years. It's been this way a long time. He went back down to NXT just to give NXT a little bit of a boost. He won the NXT championship, but it was also because they had nothing else for him. They had nothing else for him to do. So it was kind of sit in catering or go to NXT. And he was like, well, yeah, NXT will get me onto TV. I can still work with some of that younger talent, win a championship maybe. I mean, it is a bit of a no-brainer. So, yeah, I think that his career, he's still got a lot to offer. I just think that it ran its course in WWE. I think it's disappointing, but I do keep reminding myself that you can't book everyone. Like, you can't book everyone. Like, we all get excited about so many different wrestlers. Like, I'm excited about Gunther. I loved what we did with Sammy. Obviously, what we've done with Roman has been a big success. You've had Cody come in from AEW. Like, you've got all this stuff that's happening. You've got some great stuff going on in the women's division, and we're excited about when's Bron Breakker going to come up, when's Carmelo Hayes going to come up. Well, the people that they're taking time away from, the people that they're taking spots away from, are your Dolph Ziglers. Those are the people that, unfortunately, as we're getting excited about the shiny new thing, it's your Dolph Ziglers that are getting pushed further and further back down the line, And so I think it was going to be hard to build him back up, get some story going. And I think he knew that it had sort of run its course. To be perfectly truthful, I think he could have been released any point over the last few years because we just haven't done anything with him, have we? I like him. I want him to go to AEW. I want him to get a good juicy, go and get something juicy over there. Go and, him against Kenny Omega. I'd love to see that match. Dolph is one of those, right, that if you give him, like, a good story and some time, he'll kill it. He's a great wrestler. He's a great performer. He's a good promo. With the right amount of screen time, you are getting someone that, him against Ricky Stark, him against Kenny Omega. Like, you could do some really, really good stuff with Dolph Ziggler. So I'm going to keep I understand why he was let go, right? I hate the releases. I'm really not a fan. There was loads of people in the comments saying, oh, God, it's just business. Like, you got to accept this is going to happen. And it is business. And I'm certainly not as upset about it as I was a few years ago, because a few years ago was even worse than what we saw yesterday. I think I remember a few years ago saying, if you sign from WWE after what we've just seen, every week there was just a load more people being released, right, due to budget cuts. And the number, I think, came to around 100 or something in the end. I think yesterday's was about 20. And we said, if you sign a contract with WWE, I understand why you would do it, but you need to go in with your eyes open that contract it's not worth the paper it's written on. It is not worth the paper it is written on. The reason why I get so animated, but as I said, not so much this time around, but the reason why I got so animated last time was, if you got signed to a contract and that contract was, say, $100,000 over 5 years, you'd be giddy, wouldn't you? You'd be giddy, because that's basically someone is going to give you $500,000 over the next 5 years, right? That's basically what they're going to do. 100,000 a year over the next 5 years. I'd be giddy. I'd be thrilled, right? Oh my god. So you'd be absolutely like, you'd go out, you'd get yourself a nice house, you'd get a car, like some of the stuff we've just talking about. And of course, you'd be careful, but well, 500,000, as long as I pace myself, whatever. Imagine if after 2 years, that's it, it's gone. Budget cuts. That's it. And you never do get that money. Even though, like, that's what you signed and that was the contract that you signed. Budget cuts. That's it. It's done. It's just dirty, isn't it? It's just dirty. It's just know what you was going to earn because you could only take it, like, not even a year at the time. What if you signed and 6 months later it's budget cuts? Like, there's no job security in WWE unless you are Roman Reigns and a big star and they're clearly not going to get rid of you. There's just no job security. So I think this argument of it's just business, it's dirty business. It's dirty business. But I appreciate business is dirty, but it's not something that I appreciate. I don't think it's cool. I don't have respect for that. I have respect for like looking after your employees, and not even to the point where you're going to offer them like health benefits and all this kind of stuff. Like, yeah, I respect that as well. But I'm not some hippie that's going to be like preaching for different rights and whatever. I just think if you give someone a contract, you honor it. It's a little bit like, being a man of your words and honoring it. I just sort of feel like that's the business way. It's the exact same thing. You've said to someone, I'm going to give you this money over this period of time, and I want you to work for me. And then you don't honor it. It's one of the worst things I hate about WWE. It's one thing that I just can't defend about the company is the way that they treat like the employees, the way they treat the wrestlers like that. So yeah, don't like it. Not a fan. I sort of understand the business argument, but I think it's really weak. And I can vibe with business if I think they're battling against, like, if they're doing something with AEW, I'm all right with the business argument then, because all's fair in love and war. But to do it to people that are actually in-house helping you fight the fight, it's like an army turning on its own soldiers. That's just dirty, man. It's just, how can you have respect? I ain't got respect for that. So yeah, don't like it, but I understand why Dolph went. Kian said, Days, hope you are well. Have a good stream. How was your day? Did you see the posts I tagged you in? Nah, I didn't. I don't use Twitter, buds. I go on Twitter to post some little clips from videos, chuck out a couple of thoughts. I'm in and out, mate. I don't sit there going through notifications anymore. I've been quite vocal about. I don't find it a very pleasant experience. I used to think that it was the be all and end all Twitter. I've actually so frustrating. When I first started, I had a Twitter account that was about 15,000 followers, and for reason, well, I do know why actually. That got banned because I shared links to these streams, right? And I did that for a while, and eventually got hit with a couple of like strikes or whatever it is, even though it was links to this. No, I mean, I've never ever put footage up of wrestling companies, like full shows, like come and watch Raw, come and watch SmackDown, here's the full show, right? I've never done that ever, right? So if you are just joining us thinking, oh, I bet he used to do that. No, it's always been this. Like, it's always been this. So I was just sharing links to this, but there was some sort of confusion. I think they thought that it was just a fake link. I think I must have got caught up in some, and the account got deleted, right? I tried to get it back. It was a nightmare. I was hitting a brick wall. And whilst I was going through that process, I'd started a second account. So I started a second account. And that one, I think, ended up getting to about 13,000 followers. And exact same thing happened with that. Only over a much longer period of time. I was even more careful. I mean, every post I started, and I still do it now, every post starts no copyright content. I started to write that at the top. And this was over years and years and years. Like, I didn't get much trouble. The odd thing maybe here and there, again, false, like, no issue. I shouldn't have been, like, flagged for anything. But then I started to get hit again. And then eventually they got rid of the account again. And this time I'd been putting no copyright content, and it was over a much longer period of time. So now I've got a third account. I have to use like a side account to actually upload these links, because if that gets taken down, I don't care. And I just use my third account as like a kind of retweeting the other one, if you know what I mean. So this one shouldn't get into trouble, shouldn't get taken down. But I've had enough of it, to be honest. I've had enough of it. I've spent so long on Twitter, built up, like, this is my third account now. And I've just got to the point where I just don't engage with it anymore. I just don't do much on there. Just go in, do what I need to do, share a few thoughts, and I'm back out again. So well, I don't know the best place to get me, to be honest. I don't know the best place if you want to send stuff through. What I would say is probably do it by like direct message, because if you do tag me and stuff, then it's going to go into a feed and it'll probably just get lost in the feeds. If you direct message me, I don't get as many DMs. I mean, I do get DMs, but not as many. So if you really wanted me to like reference or look at something in particular, then probably DMs would be the way to go. But yeah, for that reason, I became very disconnected. And then really the final straw was I just realized as well that I was coming away from it just really like, not, do you know what I mean? Not fired up. Not like, yeah, that was a great experience. Oh, that was a great hour of my life. I just came away like, just really like downbeat, just like, I just find using other platforms a lot more enjoyable. TikTok in particular, I think there's some really fun stuff on there. There's some rubbish, but if you're watching something you don't like it, you can easily just like go past it. Whereas with this, you just have to read lots of drivel and lots of rubbish and lots of just, people with really strong opinions. And that's absolutely fine. But, like, I don't know. It's just not what I'm looking for. So I don't spend much time on it, to be honest. I'm going to leave my FPL team as it is for this week. Oh, I changed mine this morning, yeah. I created a team super late, super late. And to be honest, I think it'll run out of steam very soon because I just haven't got time for it. But I did create one in the end, but I don't have high hopes for it. Right, let's go back up. So Hasib said 5 years ago when WWE re-signed Shelton, what was your excitement level? I was hoping for a bit more in the run, but he got made a jobber. I don't think my excitement level was anything that crazy. It was nice to see him back, and it was like, but I wasn't like, oh my God, it's Shelton. Oh my God, this is the best. I wasn't expecting loads. I was expecting him to I was expecting Natalia. That's what I was expecting. I was expecting him to get used regular, but to put others over. So I think I was expecting the jobber thing, but maybe mixed in there could have been a nice moment for him. A bit like Zack Ryder winning the IC title at WrestleMania and then losing it 24 hours later, right? Maybe we could have done something nice for Shelton. I think I was expecting maybe a bit of a tag run, or I don't know. I was expecting something. I mean, we did get Hurt Business, and I don't know. I just think, how did we not use him more? Like, how did he not become the male Natalia? How was he not able to like find his role in that kind of position? How did he just sit in catering week after week after week and get used on main event and whatever? Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. To be honest, I think like he got brought back, he got paid. I like him. I've got time for him. I was really one of the things that really disappointed me in recent years was seeing him celebrate his like 20-year anniversary on main event. I just thought that was so sad that we couldn't do something for him on Raw. Someone in the company for 20 odd years, granted not all that time, but it's marking 20 years since he first arrived in WWE. And I just sort of felt like, he could have been a great mentor for someone. He could have been a fantastic mentor. He could have been in flipping Alpha Academy. Like, you could have just shoved him in there, and he could have been brilliant for like being the person that even Chad would like turn to if needed. But yeah, I don't know. They just couldn't find anything for him, and as I say, probably not the biggest surprise if you look at how often he was getting used. Hayden said, we need to be careful not posting footage from WWE on X, your third account. Yeah, I didn't. It was never footage. It was always the thumbnail to these streams and a link to these streams. So the way I used to do it was I used to just have a little red dot. It said live. It had the link, and then it adds like the list of matches and bits that were happening, right? And that was my first account. And I looked at it and I went, well, I can understand why someone would look at that and think that it's a link to the show, right? I can understand why they would think that. They've clearly not clicked the link. They've clearly not checked. They've just gone, take that down, right? So I was like, okay, I need to do something that's going to say that it's not a link to that. So I started putting no copyright content included at the very first line and on my second account. And that was so much better. And like my first account, I think got took down after, I don't know, say about 18 months, something like that, of like regular, like posting links to these streams. Took about 18 months to lose that one. The other one got took down. I want to say it must have been about 4 years. I mean, I thought I'd fixed it. I thought I'd solved it. Like, it just wasn't. There was no drama. There was no problems. Took so much longer for that one to go down because I'd started putting no copyright content on the top. And so that one took 4 years. And it was only, like early last year, maybe the end of 2021, that second account got took down. And that had, I think it was about 13,000 followers. And so now I've had to kind of try and build this new one up from like pretty much zero. But I'm not really doing anything to try and grow it this time. I'm not really doing the whole, like, hit follow if you agree with this kind of, those posts that can like help boost your followers and do bits, those kind of games. I'm just not bothered. I'm just not bothered. So, yeah, you do have to be careful. I mean, there's loads of people that I know that have like lost accounts for different things, and some deserved it and some definitely didn't. But yeah, it's not a platform that I'm really bothered about, to be honest. Russell Andy said, did you see any of the Only Fools remake? Doc Brown from Back to the Future plays Granddad. I saw the first few minutes and I had enough. I could see what they were trying to do, and I think that it's one of those where once you get past the fact of like, oh, this doesn't feel right, like, these characters don't feel. I thought the Dale character was all right, actually. I thought he was all right, but like, yeah, once you kind of get into the rhythm of that show and stop thinking about this is Only Fools and Horses, like, and stop really comparing it to what I think maybe you could have got somewhere. Maybe you could have got a good few seasons out of it. I certainly didn't think it was terrible. I only watched like the first 5-10 minutes of the thing, but yeah, it was based on it. Let's put it that way. It was based on it. I can see why it wasn't picked up. Kian said, I heard a guy that was next to Vince during Endeavor was completed, signed away. He played Vince like a fiddle. He was getting the company and trying to get Vince fired. Yeah, so, I mean, I think this goes back to that report about Vince potentially walking away. So there's a few thoughts out there that Ari Emanuel completely tricked Vince into signing over the company, giving him the position he wants, and now the deal's gone through. Now they're going to start putting pressure on Vince to go. Right? They've got what they wanted. They've signed WWE for a price they were happy with. Part of that deal was that Vince stayed. They didn't really want Vince, and so now they'll put the pressure on to, for him to go. There was a filing that TKO put in that said that they are aware. This was from the actual company, right? This is a filing that TKO, the new company like Endeavor and everyone, they have filed a report that says that Vince is potentially going to have a financial and operational negative impact on the company. And it's kind of interesting that that would be in a document. That then there's some rumors that Vince may be making his shares available to purchase. So there's a lot of noise. I mean, I don't know that that's what they've tried to do. I don't know that they've bought the company just to get it, and then they're going to push Vince out. We'll find out, won't we? We'll find out. Until something happens, like at the moment, it's nothing but speculation and talk. So it's sort of one of those weird situations where there's definitely a story there, and there's definitely something to keep an eye on, because it could be that Vince McMahon does go altogether 100%, right? But equally, nothing has really happened. He's still there, right? So until something really develops, it's one of those sort of weird little keep an eye on that situation type stories. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Let's try and get some of these super chats as well. I want to try and get some of these. I don't want them to build up. Aaron, shout out to you, buds. Hope you're well. Aaron said, I'm excited for tonight. I really want good things for Solo Sikoa. I would love him against Roman. Build him up to be a beast. What will SmackDown get on USA? Yeah, so I mean, this is hard for me to answer because I'm like Aaron. I'm not in America, so my understanding of how it works over there, TV wise, is obviously not as great. My understanding though is that USA Network is a smaller network than Fox. I know that we were talking, I think, on the member stream yesterday that Fox is in all houses. Everyone's got access to it. I don't know that the same is true of USA. So I think the belief is that there will be a decrease. Now, what that number's going to look like, we're not sure. But Raw obviously does about 1.7, 1.8. And SmackDown does about 2.2, 2.3. I think we could be looking at SmackDown certainly going under the 2 million mark. And if I was to guess, I would say that it will do on average around about 1.8, 1.9. I think that it feels in this day and age like the bigger show, like the A show. SmackDown to me feels like the A show, Raw just that little bit behind. And I think Roman is the main reason for that. I mean, The Rock came back last week. He came back on SmackDown. Like, I think Fox have been quite adamant in, like, I think they've been a lot more involved in wanting to get big things on SmackDown compared to Raw. And Raw, I think, has maybe accepted a little bit more. It's in it for the long run. It's not trying to hotshot things because, I mean, Raw's been on USA for quite a while. So I think their relationship has kind of maybe settled down a little bit. Whereas the Fox relationship, it only started about, was it 4 years ago, something like that. So for me, I think SmackDown feels like the A show over on Fox. It's now moving to USA. It's not doing it yet. It's as soon as its contract's up, then it'll move. Apparently, staying on Fridays, and it moves over to the USA Network. It is believed that will mean that Raw and NXT are going to leave USA Network because USA Network have paid $280 million compared to Fox, who were paying about 208. It's gone up about 80 million, right? It's gone up about 80 million a year for SmackDown. So SmackDown, they've signed an agreement for 5 years, 280 million, right, a year. That's how much SmackDown is costing USA Network. So I think that it should still be at the start, at least seen as the A show. I think perspective is at the moment is that it is that, and so I think it'll just do that little bit more. Now, right now, Raw's doing 1. we could be looking at SmackDown doing a 1-5 or a 1-6. Like, we could be looking at something like that. I think look at the Raw number and just give it that little bit more, because I think that it's the same station, but I think SmackDown's got that it's got that bigger audience, that audience that's used to watching it on a Friday night now. I've got to think a good chunk of them are going to follow it, but a good there's going to be a good chunk that can't, because they might not have access to USA. So I don't expect it to be a positive for the ratings. I'm certainly not expecting the ratings to now go from 2.2 to 2.5. I think they go down. But we were talking about this yesterday, and we were saying, how much does that matter if you are being paid $80 million a year extra? You're getting $80 million a year extra just for the show, right? Now, the problem is, are you going to see a decrease in tickets? Are you going to see a decrease in merch? Are you going to see a decrease in all the other areas that you make money in, because all of a sudden you haven't got as many people watching your show? Like, you have to sort of factor that in. I think they will have done that. I think they will have run some numbers. I think they'll have an idea as to what shows in that time slot are getting. Again, I don't have that. It'd be very interesting to know on a Friday on USA Network, what are the ratings for the shows in that time slot. And so, like, you could use that as a guide as well. So they'll have all that information. They will have made a decision. Word on the street was they were looking for about 100% increase. They wanted about 100%. They wanted SmackDown to cost someone like 400 million. Instead, it's come in at under 300 million. So it's definitely great news that they're getting more money for it, right? It's definitely great news. Certainly in this environment where the ratings seem to be like declining in general. So they've got more money, but I don't know that it's quite the amount of money that they were looking for. I think they definitely would have liked more. So yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a real tricky one. I think that hopefully it does well, but the bigger question is, where is Raw and NXT going to go? Where is Raw and NXT going to go? Because it's not believed that USA have got the money to spend $280 million on SmackDown and keep Raw and keep NXT. It's believed that something's going to give eventually. Kian said it'll lose viewers then if it's like Raw with 3 hours and the show changes again. Raw should go back to 2, says ARI. Please don't make SmackDown 3 hours. Yeah, it's on the table. I mean, they absolutely could do that. They could make it 3 hours. I mean, to be honest, I am very much prepared for that to happen, because it's on USA, and if USA are about to lose their 3-hour Raw, you would think that they would want to replace it with a 3-hour somewhere else. So I am mentally getting myself ready for SmackDown going 3 hours. Yeah. Lol. McAvoy Production, shout out to you, my friends. Hope you are well. McAvoy Production says, rugby tomorrow night, Ireland or South Africa? I'm not a rugby person, to be honest. Not really a rugby person. I watched England and a couple of times that they've played. I'm of the understanding that Ireland are one of the best teams in the world right now. And South Africa, I remember, won the World Cup last time. How their team is at the moment, though, I'm not too sure. It's in France. I'm going to say Ireland edge it. But that's mainly because I'm not too sure as to how good the South African team is at the moment. But I've heard that Ireland are right where they need to be. So I'm going to say that Ireland edge it. We don't know where Raw and NXT will be. They'll be moving from USA 2024. It's unknown, says Hayden. Dean said, I'm looking forward to the Women's Championship match tonight. The Beach Kevin said, I wish Raw and SmackDown were both 4 hours. I hope they don't shorten either show. LA Dortnight says, going to bed at 4 a.m. in the morning is tough in the UK when we want a rest before dinner time football. Dark Angel said USA Network is under the NBC Universal banner. David said if ABC, ESPN get Raw, I think they will change the date to a Tuesday. Why put Raw up against Monday Night Football? If this occurs, does Tony and Warner Brothers move Dynamite to Monday? No idea. It's no idea. No idea if they would move Raw. Raw's been on Mondays like since it's began in like '93. And if yeah, I think probably there would be a conversation about moving Dynamite. I think people are used to watching a wrestling show on a Monday, and they've been doing that for a long time. So if that wrestling show was to, for whatever reason, leave Mondays, I think you would have people that, because not everyone's a football fan, not everyone watches football, or some people will watch both. I mean, that's clear. I mean, Raw gets ratings, and it goes up against Monday Night Football quite often. So, yeah, it's there's a market for wrestling on a Monday, and a healthy one as well, by the looks of it. So, yeah, there very much could be a conversation, but I don't know what. I mean, it's on. Is it on TNT, TBS? TBS, is it? Dynamite in America. I know Collision's on one and Dynamite's on the other. I never know. It's either TBS or TNT. I don't care. But whatever channel it's on, I don't know what they do on Mondays. So they would have to make that decision as to whether Dynamite would be better on a Monday or not for them as well. So there'd be like a lot of different considerations. Wrestling God says, how are you doing? Are you doing Joyce Zhang tomorrow? No, we're not. We're doing UFC. We're doing UFC tomorrow. I was looking to try and do, I mean, if I could have done both, that would have been my preference. But to be honest, I only had to look at UFC to see that it starts at 9 tomorrow. So it starts early. It's not one of those shows that starts at 11 and then goes till like 3, whatever in the morning. So because it starts at 9, that would suggest to me that it's probably on at the same time as Yang and Joyce. So UFC tomorrow. Michael says, put NXT on a Monday, move Raw away from Monday Night Football. Mole says, I hope they don't change the schedule of Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, but football could be any nights. That's a good point, actually. I agree. Don't move Raw, move football. I ain't having Raw play second fiddle to football. Jog on. Move football. That's my that's my take. Michael, shout out to you. Jim said, I could see Mickey James versus Trinity at Bond for Glory. Da-da-da-da. AR1 said, TNT has basketball games on a Monday and Thursday during the season and on Tuesdays. Yeah, they probably wouldn't choose Dynamite over the basketball, I wouldn't think. But that would be one for them to decide. But yeah, basketball, I mean, it's not like just a random movie being played, So I would guess they'd probably, even if Raw moves, keep Dynamite on a Wednesday then. Did you lose the account that was followed by Bray? Yeah, I think I did, yeah. I think that was my second account. So Bray did follow that second account. I don't think he followed this one. To be honest, though, actually, Bray stopped following that second account. And the reason why was because, I don't know if you remember, but do you remember Bray's account being taken over by, like, hacked? And there was people that had hacked into his account. This wasn't a White Rabbit thing or anything. This was whilst he was away from WWE. Some people managed to get into his account and posted a load of stuff that clearly wasn't Bray. It was only like a couple of days, and then he got his account back again. But I, along with a few other people, were like insulting them and answering back to the stuff that they were posting. And I got blocked. I got blocked by the account, by the hackers. So that was over like a 2-day. So I went from being followed by him to being blocked by his account because of those people that had So, you know, I wasn't bothered. It didn't bother me. I'm pretty sure, like, I could have reached out and sent a message to Bray and said, "Look, would you mind unblocking me?" It was the people that did it. Blah 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 blah. But I wasn't bothered. I wasn't really like, as I said, even with that second account, I was kind of not staying on there as much as I had been at first. You know, I think my interest in X in Twitter has just sort of declined as time has gone by. Drops of Jupiter said CM Punk should do what Matt Cardona did, have an indie run, wrestle everywhere, New Japan, Impact, NWA, could be the real world champ, then join back to AEW or WWE. I guess I can dream. Edward said, as of now in the UK, it's 3 days to go to my birthday. I can't wait. It's going to be amazing. Are you getting me a present? No. Damon said, Danielson, Brian, show me Thomas Conroy. So give me Fastlane by October 7th and Mr. Sheffield attack match. Stack your dad Beto fire in a little finish in the density. I wasn't raining like. I agree. I like the Mr. Sheffield attack though, because that makes me think of Skip Sheffield, which was Ryback. So, which I'm if that was intended, like, very good. Do you know what? If his account ever gets hacked on Instagram or anything, I'm gonna shut my mouth. I won't say anything, right? So yeah, I'm a rubbish follow on Instagram. In all fairness, I'm a rubbish follow. I don't know why he would bother. Well, I think the reason why he did was because I was one of the first to make the Firefly Funhouse for action figures. Like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my God, I need that as like that would look so good as like a little play zone, if you will, right? Not that I was ever going to play with it, but like, just check this out. Like, you can make this as well type thing. So I can't remember if it was, I don't think it was that night, but it very much could have been that weekend. I'd have to look back at the date of the video, but it was early. It was very early. Either around that first episode or maybe the week after or something like that. It was around that kind of time that I made the thing. And I know I heard from someone, I can't, like, Jason Baker, one of those kind of people that are like good friends with Bray. I remember hearing from them saying that they really, like, all of them really appreciated seeing the figure room that had been made. So I know that's where it came from. I know it came from that. I know that was something that was like really appreciated. And if you think about it, that the amount of work that went into the Firefly Funhouse, right? It isn't just a promo. It's a whole gimmick change. It's a whole kind of if you're doing it, I also be a part of you that goes, I really hope people like this. You know, if you're going to be as brave and as big and as bold to go out there and make a Firefly Funhouse with puppets and all this kind of stuff, you're going to be thinking to yourself, this is a gamble. You know, I'm going on a wrestling show pretending to be a kid's entertainer with puppets, and people just might not get this. It might not land. And so I can understand as to why, if they start seeing people going, this is fantastic, and people making replicas and people getting on boards, I can understand as to why they would have like really appreciated that. Because that's what you would want, isn't it? I would want it as well. If I was in that situation, I would want people to be showing support and show that they got it and all that kind of stuff. So I think, like, it wasn't just me. I mean, there would have been loads of people that did similar things, showing their support, doing pictures and whatever else, right? Like cosplaying. I'm sure there was loads of stuff that was going on. But that was, apart from, like, having praise for it on the streams and doing little breakdown videos and whatever, I know the one thing that really, I think, was appreciated by the people that made the Firefly Funhouse was actually making that figure thing. And do you know what? We do forget, and I certainly forget, but we do forget how powerful social media is. We do forget how, like, powerful our words and the things we put out there can be. And I very much forget because I'm just streaming every day. I mean, like yesterday, I did a member stream. Day before that, AEW. Day before that, NXT. Day before that was Raw. Day before that was the Sunday stream. Day before that was UFC. Day before that was Smackdown. Day before that, but I stream all the time. And so it's a case of like, that's a lot of talking. That's a lot of stuff that we talk about. This is why, like, I have to share opinions. I have to say what I think about the shows, because what would I do with all that time? I'd just be sat here going, yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good. Yeah. What do you think of that match? Yeah, no, it's good. What do you think about this person? Yeah, no, they're good. Yeah, it's all good. Everything's good. What do you think about it? Yeah, it's good. Yeah, really good. So, do you know what I mean? It'd be a bit boring, wouldn't it? So, but yeah, you can easily forget because, as I said, because I do it all the time, you can easily forget like how your words and opinions and like, how powerful social media is. But I know that the figure thing really did mean a lot and was very appreciated. Miss Clown said Hogan should have been on top. He never got the chance to be the guy. Damon said, Conroy at Fastlane, it's a home kind if you meet him on the tag. Mac apology to guys. I really hope people like this. My new name in tag match, Mr. Sheffield. Hey, Scott, your day. Hey, Scott, your day. William said, I've played both American football and college. No contest. Unless you fancy footy Francines, grow a pair and man up, allow flamethrowers and dirt bikes. Don't even start. Let's go. Flamethrowers, dirt bikes. Then I would watch the NFL. Nita Nitro said the streams and vids around White Rabbit is what brought me in, and now I look forward to the streams. That's very kind. Appreciate it. I always have to add the caveat as I am aware. I know that we do not always agree, all of us, on everything. It would be impossible. There is no way. It would be impossible. There is not a parallel universe that exists where we all agree on absolutely everything that happens in wrestling. So I think as long as we've got that understanding that I am going to say stuff that you're going to disagree with, and you will put stuff in comments that I will disagree with. But I think what's good is that 99.99999% of the time, it's all respectful. And like, it's all great. There's only the very, very rare occasion where like people, myself even at times, get like hot about like certain opinions, which in retrospect, and it will happen again, I'm sure, but in retrospect is really stupid. Like, because we're talking about something we don't control. We don't control it. I think the reason why opinions get so is because you are, and me, so desperate to see more of the stuff you like and less of the stuff that you don't. So I think we put our opinions out there because we hope that others will agree and there will be a consensus that this is, the right way forwards. And then hopefully WWE will give us more of what we want. And less of what we don't. When you put your opinion out there and it hits up against someone that has a different opinion, and you're like, no, that's not what we want. We don't want that. Stop saying that. I think that's why, like a deeper level, that's why it gets so heated. Not just like here, but I'm talking about like everywhere. I'm talking about on X, on Facebook, forums. I think at its root, at its core, it's not. It's that you want your opinion to be respected. You don't want someone to go, oh, what, you're an idiot. What the hell are you on about? You don't know what you're on about, right? None of us want that, right? But I think also it's a case that we want WWE, we want everyone to agree because we want WWE to give us more of the stuff we like and more of the stuff that we want. And so the only way they can do that is if they know, Look at LA Knight. So LA Knight, there's clearly a consensus. Everyone's on board, right? Or nearly everyone's on board. Because you're never going to have everyone on board, but the majority are on board. They've made their voices heard, and now you're getting more LA Knight. And I think that there's, something to that. I've said I think part of the reason as to why he is like got the support he's got and people are so vocal is because, like, for the longest time, those people felt their voices were being ignored. This guy just could not get onto TV, could not get onto a premium live event. But it didn't make those chants for him grow quieter. People didn't forget and stop chanting for him or whatever. If anything, it made whenever he did come out louder, because I think at its core, people want to use their voice to let WWE know we want more of this. And LA Knight this year, I think, was an example of that. So just like how Daniel Bryan was an example of that, and Kofi Mania was an example of that. So yeah, you know, we'll continue to share opinions and whatever, obviously, but we're trying. We are trying. It's a battle we won't always win, but we are trying to keep it light, keep it respectful, keep it bouncy. Godfather's host said, Days, it's gone. It's deleted. Trini got rid of it. It was Trini. It was Trini that got rid of it. I'm gonna read it anyway, because I don't know if there's gonna be. Is there like some dodgy stuff in there? I'll skirt around it if there is. Shooting up that SmackDown smack. Thoughts on Tony Khan dancing and doing the Garcia hump thrust dance whilst one of his top stars went to hospital. Not very nice. It was poor dancing. R.I.P. nipple. Do you know what, right? I did see that clip. I saw that clip, and I've got a different opinion on it, right? So again, light, bouncy, yeah? I've got a slight different opinion. So I think that when Moxley got injured, he suffered concussion, right? Brian Alvarez said minor concussion, right? I don't know. I don't know if it was minor, major. It was a concussion, okay? But I think as soon as it happens, there is a picture of Tony, Renee, Claudio, Wheeler Yuta. I put it in my little short thing, right? I put it in with that. They were all outside Moxley's trailer, okay? So I know that Tony did go and check on him. I know, like, had that segment have been the very next segment, and like Moxley had like obviously suffered an injury, he was in the back, and then the very next segment is Tony Khan dancing, then I think we'd have a different conversation compared to the one I'm going to have now. But he does check on him. I've seen the image. It was in my little short. It's I think at that point he's told, look, he's fine. He just needs to rest. Like, it's unfortunate, but it's you know, he's gonna be absolutely fine. There's no need for medical going to the hospital. He just needs to like sleep it off. The doctor has been to see him. Doctor will be back in an hour. Like, whatever it might have been, he's fine. Or he's not totally fine, but he's, you know, it's fine. At that point, what does Tony do? I mean, at that point, does Tony just, I don't know, somberly sit in the back? Like, I don't really have a problem with him later in the show. And it was later because the Moxley match, I believe, was the third match. So I know that for a fact that we went through the Saraya Tony Storm match, and then we went through the MJF match as well. Like, I don't know at what point he comes out with Garcia. It would have been for the Rampage part of it. So we're talking an hour after it's happened, at least, right? And so at that point, like, is it bad for him to come out and like, I mean, it is bad because it just looks rubbish anyway, right? It just looks like a goof being a goof. But I don't know that I've got a problem with the Moxley thing, because at that point, it like Moxley's been checked over. Tony's already checked on him. I'm not aware that he's gone to hospital. I believe trailer. So for me right now, just where I am right now, without knowing any further details, only knowing the stuff that I've said, I don't have a problem with it. I think that you could make the argument that it's not a good look. You could make that argument, right? And that argument has been made. Like, it's not a good look. But who's it not a good look to? Because one of the things I would say is that a lot of people were worried about Moxley and nothing was announced. So if Tony Khan is out there dancing around, it sort of sends the message that everything's okay. It sort of inadvertently sends a message of, this ain't someone that's been rushed to hospital and is knocking at death's door. Because the way that he was out and not moving and being checked on, we didn't know if he was paralyzed. We didn't know if he had serious head injuries. We didn't know what had happened. So the fact that Tony was out there dancing later in the show, I understand that you could make the argument it's a bad look because we were in the dark about what was going on with Moxley. But I think it does also send the message of, well, everything must be fine, because Tony wouldn't be out there doing it if there was like a drama and a disaster. If something had gone really wrong, Tony wouldn't be out there. I will throw a lot of stuff at Tony. I think his booking can be weak. I think like him hugging is the way he does is creepy. I think that he can really struggle to control his talent behind the scenes. I just think that he just strikes me as someone that in quite a few departments is out of his depth, right? But one thing that I'll always struggle to kind of like really criticize him on is like when it comes to being like compassionate with the wrestlers. I mean, the tribute show they did to Brody was fantastic. That tribute show was the tribute show I wanted for Bray in WWE. So the tribute show that he did for, I thought was really good. And we know that they stayed quiet on Brody as well when he was going through like his injuries and all that kind of stuff. My understanding is that Tony will pay for like transport to and from airports, and will really try to look after the talent. The CM Punk one is really interesting because obviously CM Punk landed in London and there was no car waiting for him. So that's interesting. But a lot of wrestlers have said that a lot of that stuff Tony looks after, pays for hotels, whatever it might be. I think Tony really does look after the wrestlers because I think he really loves the wrestlers. I think with Vince is like, how's it going, pal? Whatever. But at its core, it's always a business relationship. Vince will cut you if he needs to, right? He'll cut you if he needs to. I mean, if you're his top guy, he'll look after you. If you're a Hogan, if you're a Cena, if you're a Roman, Vince has got your back, right? You're fine. You're sorted because he wants you on side because he'll use you again in the future. But if you're just a general person on the roster like Vince, I don't know. I mean, Vince will cut you and not think twice about it. Tony doesn't do those kind of cuts. Like, he honors contracts and he pays for transport and hotels and medical and like loads of different stuff. So the one thing that I can't accuse Tony of is not being caring or compassionate. To him, he loves them. Like, do you know what I mean? He worships them. I think he's grown up loving wrestling, and so now he loves the wrestlers. And this is why when they sign, he grabs a hold of them and hugs them and doesn't let go. He's like a kid that's meeting his favorite superstars, only he happens to be in charge of them and he's like, holding on to them. So this is why I struggle with criticizing him over the Moxley thing, because I don't think that if there was any problems, there would be any way that he would be out there dancing or whatever, right? But I think he did it because he'd already checked on him. Everything was fine. And so the show could go on. Moxley just needs to rest up, and it's unfortunate. But, rest up, we'll check on him, and, the show goes on type situation. I don't know what the alternative is. What, he sits around moping in the back, all sad for someone that's got a concussion. I mean, like, I don't understand. So for me, if you want to throw stones at Tony for being a bad booker, or you want to throw stones for AEW not having a rule where the ref counts 3 if it's clearly a 3, right? Which would have prevented Moxley being dropped on his head a second time, right? Which, I mean, it's negligence. It's negligence. If you want to throw stones at AEW and Tony for that, I'll join in. I'll go and get the rocks. But that's one I can't throw stones at him for. Yeah, that's one that I can't get with that. And this is where I don't, because I saw it was Stevie Richards that brought this up. It was Stevie Richards' video that did the rounds and kind of went a little bit viral, right? Because I saw it in a few people shared it. And I sort of I couldn't tell if he was doing it because that's genuinely what he believed, right? Which it might be, but my counter would be what I've just said. So I couldn't tell if that's what he genuinely believed or if he was doing it because it was the biggest talking points and these kind of videos of what really have blown up for Stevie Richards. So was he doing it because he knew that there was a talking point there, a big video to be made? So he did it, but didn't really think it through, maybe? Or is it that that is what he genuinely really believes? Like, I couldn't quite figure that out. I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell if he just hadn't thought it through or if that is how it looked to him. But if someone wanted to get into an argument about, well, it's still a really bad look for Tony to be doing that because no announcement to my knowledge had been made. Yeah, I mean, I could understand that. I could understand it being a bad look. I think that, but then to some people that just hate AEW, a lot of things are going to be a bad look, aren't they? To people that loathe AEW and hate AEW, a lot of stuff is going to be a bad look. So, you can't let that really dictate you. It's how does it look to the casual fans? How does it look to the AEW fans? And as someone that watches WWE and watches AEW, I didn't have a problem with it doing from a Moxley point of view. I don't know. In isolation, it just looked a bit of a silly thing for him to do in general, to be honest. And I don't even know at what point in the show it happened. It might have been that it was after the show had completely ended, and it was just if it was just a little thing for the live fans, yeah, fine. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? You go along to the show. Oh my God, there's Tony. Because seeing Tony Khan, if you go to an AEW show, that would make you go, oh, look, there's Tony. And if he came out and just did a little moment where he was dancing, you'd be like, if you was an AEW fan, right? If you hate AEW, you're probably not reacting that way. But at the very end of the show, after the show had ended, if Tony came out, thanked the fans, and then did the little dance or whatever, I don't know, man. I can't say I got a problem with that. Boomer said Rampage is going to suck this week. Sean said, do you think we'll get any movement on a cross faction tonight? Also, do you recall when Kairi Sane was expected back? I don't think there was a word. I mean, I was actually disappointed when the Kairi Sane news broke because I think the report was that she was expected back like that week. So I remember saying this is where like the dirt sheets get in the way. Because saying someone's coming back is fine. Just don't tell me when, Just don't tell me when. Ideally, I'd like to not know at all. I'd like to just go, oh my God, it's Kairi Sane. And be completely surprised. But I understand if they find something out, then, they're going to report it, right? But my frustration at the time, and we're going back a good few weeks now, was I'm sure the way it was written was that she could debut even as early as that night. Thankfully, she didn't. So we don't actually know as and when she might turn up. Maybe tonight. I mean, to be honest, you've got Io against Asuka. So maybe tonight would be a good night to bring Kairi Sane into that mix. It would certainly give, imagine like Kairi trying to get involved. Maybe that could then set up Bayley and Io versus Kairi and Asuka. I mean, like, you could certainly do some fun stuff there. So, yeah, man, if we do get Kairi tonight, that would be fantastic. And this would be a great match to bring her back in on. A title match on SmackDown. Be a great match to bring her back in on. So, I'll keep my fingers for tonight, actually. But, no, I don't think it was ever actually reported what week she was going to turn up. And will we see any more movement on the cross faction? Well, I can't say, to be honest, because it's been a long time since he even teased a faction. I don't know that we're even quite going in that direction. I think wasn't there just like one promo going back probably about a month now. I'm sure there was one promo, and in it he sort of teased and said a few things about like maybe not doing this like on your own or on his own so much. But there's been no follow-up on that. There's been no follow-up on it whatsoever. So, again, another one that it's like, and no words on it either. No words on potential members, potential faction. It's one of those that everyone went, oh, that's interesting. and then that was it. Like, there was no more talk on it. So another one that we're going to have to wait and see on. But I really do like the Kairi Sane shout. I think that could be really fun for tonight. Right, we do have one more. I do need to try and get to it. Drop this down. Butterstarch, shout out to you, says Matt Riddle has been released. Has he? Hang on, if he has, that would be big news. Yes. 7 minutes ago? Oh my gods. Matt Riddle released Sean Ross Sapp. Butterstarch, shout out to you, buds. That news just breaking as we are live. Matt Riddle, as of 9 minutes ago, has been released. That news coming from Sean Ross Sapp. Now, that must be due to the conclusion of their investigation. So their investigation must now be complete, and it must have found that there was nothing to those allegations of sexual assault. This is someone that I think has got some real issues. This is a guy that last year went to... We'll have to do this as a video. Massive breaking news, and this is coming from Sean Ross Sapp over on Twitter. A big shout out to Butterstarch in our live stream that's made me aware of this. News coming through that Matt Riddle has been released by WWE. Now, obviously, we don't have information at the moment. We don't know as to why, but we do know that Matt Riddle was under investigation. The reason why he was being investigated was because he accused someone, I believe a security guard there at JFK Airport, of sexual assault. Not only did he make that allegation, but he shared a picture of the person. This is a very serious allegation, and that was being investigated by WWE. My guess would be that that investigation has now concluded, and my guess would be, and this is nothing more than a guess, but my guess would be that they found no wrongdoing, which would mean that Matt Riddle has falsely accused this person of sexual assault. There were rumors that Matt Riddle was intoxicated, had been drinking at the time, and we know that Matt Riddle earlier this year, late last year, went to rehab as well after failing the wellness policy. This is a big name. This is someone that's been used and pushed a lot. This is someone that was obviously a tag champ. RK Bro went into a feud with Seth last year. Missed quite a bit of this year, but when he came back, he was teaming with the likes of Sammy and Kevin. And this is someone that I think they had really high hopes for. And I think Vince really liked his character and the bro and all of that backstage stuff. This is, I don't know that I can say a shock, because we didn't quite know what was going to come of that investigation. But this is big news. Obviously, Riddle gone from WWE. Wow. I'll keep an eye on Sean, because Sean obviously will be in the know. He's got great contacts. He's someone that I think genuinely has good sources in WWE. He's someone that I think does genuinely know people, and should be able to get some information, more information on that. If anyone does see anything in the chat, let us know. Riddle released, yeah. Yeah, that's coming from Sean Ross Sapp as well. So Sean said that he will go and try and find more information. I don't think there'll be anything just at the moment. But it's got to be connected to that allegation, hasn't it? I mean, what else would it be? Unless they've done a wellness policy thing, check, and he's failed it. But my guess would be, considering he was under investigation anyway, my guess would be that it's probably connected with that. Sometimes 2 + 2 does equal 4. The chat was letting you know for about 10 minutes. Wow, I appreciate it. Butterstarch is the one that I saw. That's where the credit goes. Stop trying to take credit away from people, Trini. It's not a good look. I've got a good feeling about Rampage. It's going to make me happy, says Brandon. Riddle has tweeted that he's not with WWE. What's in Riddle's tweets? Have a look at Riddle's tweet. 17 minutes ago. Just wanted to let everyone know I'm no longer with WWE. Thank you for the memories and opportunities. Also, thank you to the fans for the support and the love that you gave me. See you all soon. Wow. I mean, you could think that it was connected with the releases, but I don't think that Riddle is someone that they would look to get rid of. I don't think Riddle is someone that they would look to part ways with if this allegation wasn't there, just because of the amount of TV time he was getting. I mean, if you look at the other names that were released, they're all people that don't tend to get on TV much. You know, Aaliyah doesn't get on TV much. Rick Boogs doesn't get on TV much. Dolph Ziggler doesn't get on TV much. Whereas you compare that to Matt Riddle, who was getting considerable TV time until this incident happened. I think that maybe there's a little bit of like, well, look, we've got all this drama going on with Riddle. Do we really need to keep him round? So maybe that's played a factor, but I certainly don't think it's the reason. But again, that's just me speculating. We haven't got the information at this stage, but we will keep an eye on Sean Ross Sapp that's trying to find out. We will try and keep an eye on this as it develops. So only 14 minutes to go until SmackDown. If you are just joining us, Matt Riddle released, and that is going to be dominating the conversation. One of the, I mean, I tell you what, does he go to AEW? It's only taken me all of a few minutes just to flip my head over into that conversation. Does he go to AEW? I mean, would AEW just be bringing in a problem? Would they just be bringing in someone? He's not going to cause backstage drama. Like, he's not going to fall out with other people, I don't think. But he is someone that does bring drama, doesn't he? He's someone that will certainly bring drama, even if it's not kicking off with Jack Perry about real glass. It's still going to be potentially an unwelcome distraction from shows and whatever. So I don't know. Does he land on his feet there? He's a decent name. He's been used quite a bit. Ikemen Jiro was released. I saw that earlier, in the day. Ikemen Jiro. Again, someone that wasn't being used down in NXT. There was another one as well. Brooklyn someone. It's a name I didn't recognize. Brooklyn someone from NXT as well. I think that was like a performance center person. That's not the place for Riddle around Tony and all that cocaine. Might be the perfect place for Riddle, bud. Might be where Riddle shines. Yeah, man, that would be a tough decision. If I'm AEW, I really need stars. I really need someone that's got a bit of name value. I really need someone that's that is going to cause a bit of a buzz in the wrestling world. Riddle was like really popular with the kids. Like that younger generation really liked Riddle. Because of his like laid back, came down on the scooter. That's a hard one, man. That's a hard one. I wonder if you just. I might take him on a short contract. If I was Tony, I might take him on a short contract, just something that's got a get out clause to it, something that I can definitely get out of if things aren't going the way that I want them to. Gamble. Definite gamble, though. These releases are sad, says Tyler. Yeah, this one might be self-inflicted. I don't know. This might be a different one, as we said. This one might be nothing to do with them looking at the budget. If he sorts out his life, then go to AEW. But if he doesn't, Tony won't sign him. Yeah. Well, do you know what? I mean, it is an indication, isn't it? It is. You are right. It is an indication that something's not right, because if he was intoxicated and was released by WWE because of that, it would suggest that he's still not in a good place, would it? It would suggest that things are still not where they need to be. Wrestler Andy said another thing with Matt Riddle going to AEW is that he would use his real name. Isn't his real name Matt Riddle? Cameron Stewart said Matt Riddle said he got released on Twitter. Cameron, appreciate the information, but finding the reason why is going to be the interesting one. I want to have a look, see what Sean Ross Sapp's saying. Is there more releases to come? I wouldn't think so. This one being on its own makes it feel separate from the others. So I wouldn't think there's more to come, but let's see what Sean's saying. Sean, what's that? SmackDown plans are coming soon. We will have news about Riddle's release on Select in the next few minutes. Oh, wow, that's quick, isn't it? He don't mess around, does he, Sean? He don't mess around. I really don't like reading out things that have only just dropped, right? I really don't like reading stuff out like that, because I just think it's moody. You know, I know, like, people are going to be like, just read it. But, like, it is pretty moody, isn't it? I mean, like, this is how Fightful make their money. So, I tell you what, as soon as SmackDown begins, I will read what this says, right? But I'm going to give it 5-10 minutes. So, I'm going to give it 5-10 minutes. What I can read you, though, is what dropped an hour ago. And this was WWE saw releases on Thursday, and Fightful has learnt some more about them. Aaliyah had been factored out of creative for over a year, and at the time of asking for an update on her, we were told that she wasn't injured, and she just wasn't being considered for it. Sucks, doesn't it? Is she injured? No. Are you considering her for anything? No. Shanky was another name that was never brought up at creative. Company did want him to perform in India, but there were no plans for a return other than that. It was another situation of the company feeling as if the progression in ring just wasn't there. He wasn't considered as a part of the new industry and never planned for anything in creative. Those that we spoke to said he was liked backstage. Quincy Elliott was one name said to not have been a surprise. WWE coaches didn't feel that Quincy was improving, and with social media controversies, caused some headaches for the company. Yeah, that's that one wasn't a surprise, was it? There was some talk there of Quincy and him being involved in some stuff that you wouldn't want to be involved in. Let's click on this to go to the chat. 7 minutes till we go over to this week's SmackDown. That article about why he was released has just dropped. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. I just want to give it a chance to get out there first, to be honest. I don't want to be the first that leaks whatever is written there. Defcon Prime, Pirate King Jack said, Devil's Advocate, even shows and sports teams need younger talent and veterans that make people on who they were, but who they are now. Sorry. Defcon Prime, Pirate King Jack, shout out to you. Appreciate the support, my friends. Appreciate the support. Cal says Riddle released. Oh, Cal, I never got to yours, did I? Damn. I didn't get to Cal's. I saw Butterscotch's, I think, on screen before I went back to the retrospective ones. So that's a shared creditation to Butterscotch and Cal. You got to give the credit where it's due. And shout out to Cal as well, who did let me know, did inform me as well. Very much around the same time. So Cameron, Butterscotch, Cal, everyone that was shouting it in the chat as well. Big thank you to all of you. Obviously, I wouldn't have seen that kind of news that breaks through as we're live. I'm not I don't tend to sit here just reading Twitter as it updates. So we do rely on people to give us that information. So Gold Stars said, Miss Clown, yep. If I had gold stars, I would dish them out. Yes. Big Time said, reading Twitter with all the releases, it's very overwhelming and too much to sink in, especially whilst live streaming. Yeah. Whilst trying to do the live stream, trying to sit here, chat, read what you lot are put in, and then trying to keep up to date with. Plus, also, most of the time, there are no developments, are there? Most of the time, there is no news during the actual streams. It's quite rare for us to get a big thing like this. You know, Matt Riddle released is clearly a big talking point, a big situation. And one that, as we said, we'll read in a second as to what the reasoning is. Fightful seem to have something there. So we will get to that. Tonight, we've got 5 minutes till the show starts. And I can tell you that tonight we have got John Cena on the show. So that's still exciting. We've got LWO taking on the Street Profits. It's going to be Ray and Santos taking on the Street Profits. Should be good. And we also have Asuka and Io battling for the title. We asked people what they thought, who they thought was going to win earlier. Io, 60%. Asuka, 40%. Closer than I thought, you know. Closer than I thought. I thought this would be fairly unanimous for Io because are they going to do a title change on SmackDown? I mean, I suppose they could, but I kind of felt like this was just really like a way of getting Io to the title. So, yeah, I'm leaning towards this being Io and just it being a defense for her. But I really like the idea of Kairi Sane getting involved. I really like the idea of Kairi. This is where she arrives. So, you know, maybe it'll go that way. Maybe it won't go that way. But either way, it's definitely going to be worth watching. And it seems like you lot are a little bit torn as to how it could go, which always just makes things a little bit more interesting. Scottish Nightmare said Ezekiel was Elias. How long do you think it will be before Jade Cargill makes her debut? Hopefully a surprise appearance. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, like, what they plan on doing with her is not what I would plan on doing with her. So it makes it very hard to know as to how quickly we're going to move. Because for me, she'd be going to NXT, as I've said a few times. But the word on the street is that they are looking to have her actually on the main show. So I don't know how quickly would you debut her on the main show. I mean, my feeling is if she's going to the main show, there's a lot that she's got to learn. I'm not talking wrestling. I'm just talking presentation. Like, what words can you say? What words can't you say? Like, how often do you need to interact and pose with the crowds? What's your entrance music going to be? What's the Titantron going to be? What's your pose in the entranceway? What's your pose on the edge of the ring? You know, are you a heel? Are you a face? Like, who's the first feud going to be against? Maybe we don't worry about that. We just put her out there against some random people and worry about sorting the creative. But why would we need to move that quick? Why do we need to get her out there quick? Get her out there now. Like, I mean, honestly, you could just, to be honest, you could have a debut in the Rumble. If you want her on the main roster, you could just put her down in NXT, give her a not put her on the show, but put her down in the Performance Center, work with her for a few months to improve her wrestling ability, right? Put her through her paces, see where she is, right? We need to tweak that. We need to change that. Check out her promos. Go, right, no, that's not good enough. This is what I want you to do. Go again and get her to do it again. Just get her to promo. Like, Do you know what I mean? Fast track those abilities, fast track that skill set, just really hammer her in the performance center for a few months. And then once you get into January, is it really going to be a problem to save her for the Rumble? Maybe you save her for the Rumble and you just hammer her in the PC and just like absolutely get her like, up to a much higher standard than what we've seen in AEW. And then maybe she goes to the main roster. I don't know. Or maybe you debut her this week and you just like bob along and do the best you can. It's a hard one because, as I said, for me, she'd just go to NXT. I think she's good, and she's good enough for NXT. She's good enough to go on to NXT TV with the experience that she's had and the experience that she's got. Like, I certainly don't think, we need to do a bit of work to get her ready for NXT. She can do that. But I would have her down there for a little bit and then maybe look to call her up after WrestleMania. If you started now, keep her in NXT until WrestleMania and then maybe have her interrupt a match at WrestleMania and make her presence felt at WrestleMania. Or have her debut the night after WrestleMania, which is always a good show to have people debut. So, man, honestly, I think she's a good pickup for WWE. And I think there's a lot of options, a lot of things that you can do. There's a lot of different ways that you can use her and bring her in. And we'll have to wait and see what WWE choose. Right, here we go. We're going over to SmackDown. SmackDown beginning. Let's just catch up with this. Lovely. We're up to date with those. John Cena's coming out. Never give up. Okay. I did say we would look at that thing on Fightful. I am a man of my words. John Cena sucks. 22nd of September. Right, update on Matt Riddle. Riddle wasn't around backstage even before his release. Fightful have confirmed the contrary to the rumors. Fightful has confirmed that contrary to the rumors, Riddle was never planned for September 18th Raw. Didn't know he was. One source we spoke to said that rumor likely emerged from outdated information. Riddle had been off the road since alleging about the JFK airport sexual assaults. Riddle was removed from the September 11th episode of Raw. His return has not been planned. Those that we spoke to, Riddle was not factored into creative plans. He was doing some grappling training as per usual. He was said to be in good spirits. However, this is the key line. This is the key bit. Here we go. However, one WWE higher up, don't know who that is, certainly doesn't imply that it's the truck driver, but one WWE higher up says Riddle burned through too many chances. That's all there is. So that higher up certainly implying that the release was due to him burning through too many chances. The rest of it is just a bit waffly, in it. There was a rumor he was going to be on this show, but we heard he wasn't. Blah, 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 blah. The key bit, I think, is that last bit there about how one higher up, could be Vince, says that he burned through too many chances. It's probably not Vince. Right. We are underway with this week's SmackDown. Cena in the ring. Cena. Welcome. Welcome to another sold-out Friday night SmackDown. Since you allowed me to come home, I've been able to do a whole lot of things. I've been a talk show guest. I've been a host. I've been a backstage correspondent. I've been a referee. It is true, actually. An official. So Cena just having some fun with the fans as they what him. I've gone to Hershey, Pennsylvania. I've gone to Pittsburgh. I've gone to Denver. All of those have been sold out, but they ain't been like tonight. Why, John? What's so special about tonight, John? Tonight is a special night. Tonight's different. I don't want to be a ref. He wants to be a wrestler. He's going to compete. He's going to compete, isn't he? Let's go. Tonight is the night that he wants to have a match. Very well with the crowds. I got to ask you. He said, is tonight a good night to have a match? And this is so good. This is what AEW don't do. They don't come out and set up summer for potentially later in the show. Cena's come out, spoken all the stuff he's done, but said, I want to have a match. If you're tuning into this show as a casual fan, you're sticking around, man. So, I think I found myself a phenomenal partner. Here's AJ Styles. So, it was heavily teased anyway last week that Jimmy and Solo against John and AJ. John Cena coming out saying, tonight's the night I want to have a match. I must admit, them doing it like the next week, that I like that. That's good. Just the next week, bang. No premium live event. None of that. We're not building up to anything. We're not saving it for Fastlane. Unless we are about to save it for Fastlane. Hopefully we get it tonight, though. DK said the mic's not working. Is it not working? Some glitches. Is that? Shouldn't be. It's been all right so far, hasn't it? Let's go down. DK, I appreciate it. It should have been all right. It should have been fine. It's been all right so far all night. Not aware of anything. Keep an eye on it. You have to let me know. Okay, so John Cena in the ring with AJ Styles. AJ snatching that microphone. AJ looking quite angry, and I don't really know why. Crowd are chanting away. So you want John Cena and AJ to take on the Bloodline, and the crowd are very much into it. AJ doesn't look into it. I don't know why he's not into it. Why would that be a problem to team with John Cena? I mean, it's just working up the crowd. That's all it's doing, but... Bloodline, you want some, come get some. WWE fan says, WWE had more releases than I've had hot dinners. Here's Jimmy Uso. Let's go. I think the glitching is a YouTube issue. Oh, okay. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a me issue, to be honest. Okay, Jimmy and Solo making their way down to the ring. Says Jimmy Uso with Solo Sikoa. Yeah, man, this will be a good match. It'll be a really good match. And there's a lot going on here as well because we don't quite know the Solo Jimmy relationship as well. We know they're brothers, but they're not in the strongest place. I mean, it was teased last week that Solo was going to Samoan spike him. And Paul Heyman has said that Jimmy is a problem at the moment. Surely this is the main event. You don't do the match now. Solo, Jimmy jumping off the apron. There's a sign in the crowd that says, Mom thinks I'm in tutoring. Okay, so the bloodline back away. It's always a bit strange, that, isn't it? Come, spending all that effort coming down to the ring, and then you just back away. You come down to the ring, you get on the edge of the ring, you stare at the faces, and then you go, nah, and you back away. What's the point? Just stay out back. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. It's too much indecisiveness in wrestling. Do you know what I mean? If you're going to do it, do it. If you're not doing it, don't do it. What's this walking out and then going, nah, changing your mind as you get out there? Okay, I'm still none the wiser if we are getting this match or not. Jimmy still looks like he's going through an identity crisis after Jay left him, said Sir Killer. Main event, Asuka Io, isn't it? Don't know. I don't know. I know it is tonight, but I don't know if that's the main event. Oh, Matt, I tell you what, if we've got John Cena and AJ against Jimmy and Solo, and we've got that women's title match, I mean, this is a stacked episode, man. This is stacked. This is stacked. Rey Mysterio is coming out as well. I mean, star power everywhere. We go from a Cena segment into a Rey Mysterio match. Rey Mysterio and Santos versus Street Profits. So Zelina is out there with them as well. Stereo. Apparently the releases of the superstars, they can't go anywhere for 90 days because for them to go to AEW or Impact, or 90-day non-compete. I did see that from Sean, who said that there's just the standard. I think it's pretty standard. If you're released from the main roster, there's like 90 days of not being able to go anywhere. Local Fox station is covering severe weather, so I'm depending on you to keep me updated, says Adam. Well, Adam, first segment down. Cena comes out. Crowd are really hot. Cena says, tonight's special, I'm going to have a match. I want to have a match. Should I have a match? Crowds say, yes, please. Then he says, well, I've got a problem with the bloodline, but I think I've got a partner in mind, a phenomenal partner, AJ Styles. Out comes AJ. AJ looks moody. He then agrees. Says, bloodline, if you want some, come get some. They come out, head to the ring. They then don't say anything, but they go, nah, they kind of back away. So I still don't know if we're getting that match this week or not, but we're clearly getting that match at some point in our lives. That ended that segment, and now we have got Rey and Santos about to take on the Street Profits in our first match. So that is SmackDown so far, and promises to be good, doesn't it? Restani said, you need one of those Santos Escobar ponchos for streaming in the winter. Just ponchos in general. It's good to have in the wardrobe, innit? To be honest. It's one of those essential items of clothing that not enough men have. Never mind. A refresh fixed it, says DK. Goods, 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 goods. I did last. Do you know what? I've been just putting a few more little clips from the streams because obviously we talk about so much and we react to everything on the shows. It is a bit silly that I've not been doing more of that. Just taking little moments from the streams and just putting them out there for people to enjoy in isolation or for those that don't join us. So I've been doing that a little bit more, but going back and watching the streams, like, and seeing how much the microphone cuts out, I was like, man, I need to fix it. So I did play and mess around with the microphone, like really was trying lots of different stuff. And this shouldn't cut out as much as it has been, because I was literally down here last night, like just screaming into the microphone, recording it, playing it back, and seeing what if it was cutting out. And I'd got it to a point where it wasn't cutting as much. So I still haven't quite managed to get it perfect. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I think I must have like a high voice or something. I don't know that it's loudness. I think it's like the tone. I think I've got like I'm basically a soprano. That's basically what it is. I'm a soprano. So when I get like animated and quite high, I think like maybe I squeal like a pig or something. I don't know. That's what she said. So, yeah, I am trying. Effort is being made. I just want to reassure you of that. Life of Daz said, Days, I'm surprised about Riddle being let go. Him and Ziggler may go to AEW and Top Dollar too. Oblong said, another classic example of WWE pushing part-time and retired folk way better than their current wrestlers and then blaming those wrestlers and firing them for not getting over. Shake my heads. Right, we're backstage. We got Cena and AJ and Adam Pearce. It's complicated. He's going to talk to Paul Heyman. After the bell with Corey Graves and Kevin Patrick, they've got Santos Escobar on their podcast this week. I really should be listening to that. There's probably some decent stuff in there. Here's Street Profits with their stupid cups and their usual intro, which doesn't make any sense considering they've completely changed now. Here's Bobby. Bobby coming out with them. Are we meant to cheer them or boo them or what? I don't know what we're meant to do. I mean, they're heels, aren't they? Didn't they attack the baby faces? Imagine if they, rather than cups, they had Street Profits money with their faces on come raining down to show that they are not interested in the fun solo red cup thing anymore. Like, they're all about the money now. That'd be a nice little change. Okay, so Street Profits making their way down to the ring. Could you see Street Profits Lashley against Judgment Day? Sure. Yeah. Can't see why we wouldn't do that. Rey Mysterio and Santos take on the Street. Lovely. I'm actually where I need to be. Good. Bobby looks good. He's got some glasses on. Definitely not a fan of the Street Profits ring gear. Like this black and just awful looking green and a bit of grey, and I don't get it. What's Rey in? Rey's in like an electric pink. Let's go. Rey looks great. That ring gear really pops, man, on Rey. Looks really good. Colby, shout out to you, my friend. Colby says, I appreciate you and love the streams. My WWE dream match is Days versus Gunter. Let's go. I'm up for it, but he's the one that's running. Proof's in the pudding, in it. I'm here. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to throw down. Yeah, I mean, it must be quite. It must be. There must be some people that you must really look forward to if you're a wrestler getting in the ring with. And there must be some people you really dread. I don't know if you saw that TikTok, but they actually went around to wrestlers and asked them what move hurts the most. Like, just approached them as they were like on their phones, whatever. And I bet that is true. The answers they gave may not be the true correct answers, but I bet that is true. I bet there are wrestlers, and we know there have been in the past, that are quite stiff, that are quite snug, that when they throw shots, them shots really connect, or when they slam you down, like they don't do it gently, it's like bang, and you really do like hit hard. I would imagine there are some that are like nicer and gentler to work with, that you look at it and you go, okay, this is a good week. And then someone like Gunther, you look at the board and you go, oh my God. Because you know you're going to get chopped into next Tuesday. You know that you're going home with like a handprint mark right here and one here as well. Maybe one here. I would imagine that probably is quite scary. I like that. I really like that. So as Ray slid under that bottom rope to land on Montez, Dawkins just was dragging Montez out of the way. That was a fun little spot. That was a fun spot. I really like that, actually. I think they should lean into that more. Like, give Dawkins more moments where he can drag or save Montez. Montez is the star, right? Montez is the guy that could go on to be a world champion. He looks great. He's got a good move set. We've seen him have some solo matches in the past. He was in Elimination Chamber, blah, blah, blah. And so we know that he's a potential breakout. He could be the Bret Hart of this group. He could be the Shawn Michaels of this group, right? But let's not just let's not just give up on Dawkins. Like, Dawkins can still play that powerhouse role, and he can also be there to like protect, like, those moments where Montez has crashed and burned on the outside. Well, Dawkins is there to move him out the way and mop that situation up, clean that situation. That was a good look for Dawkins. It was a fun little spot as he grabbed him and was dragging him out the way, but it was a good look. It gave him purpose as well. So I like that. Just a good little segment. WWE fan said Emma tweeted about Elimination Chamber. She got hyped and then got released saying, I wonder where Dexter Lumis is. Well, not released is the answer. So that's very positive. Horror King says, SmackDown's just not doing anything for me anymore. I'm tired of the bloodline and they're gonna slowly kill it. Big Time said USA paid $265 for Raw. Fox paid $205. If USA took Raw for 1.4x, that goes $265 to $371. Instead, they take SmackDown from $205 to $287, and they saved $100 million. Did USA just play WWE? I don't think they played them. I think WWE have got to look at the offers that are on the table, and I think they've got to take whatever the best option is. I mean, it could be that the competition for Raw is because maybe like they're looking to do Raw and NXT as a bit of a bundle. Don't know. But it could be that there's we've heard the streaming services that are interested. So it's very interesting. Those streaming services haven't managed to secure SmackDown, which would suggest that they are interested in the Raw NXT bundle, maybe, right? So it might not be that USA have played WWE. It might be that USA know they're just not going to be in the run-in to secure Raw. And the only option they're going to have is to go for SmackDown. If it works financially for them, like, then brilliant. But I don't know that I can sit here and say, yeah, they just played them, they got one over. I mean, it all depends. They must have put in the best offer for SmackDown, mustn't they? I mean, where was the Fox offer? Where was that would be my question. Where was Fox? Fox have got the show. Right, the show's been doing good ratings. Where was Fox not willing to match the USA offer? Where was the Fox offer on SmackDown? Why did Fox not go for that sort of an increase? So all of that's obviously massively interesting. I must admit, I am surprised that SmackDown is going USA. I would have thought that it either stayed on Fox or would have gone with Raw and SmackDown to an Amazon Prime or gone to a streaming platform. I don't think I had much hope that USA was going to be keeping shows, but they have. So, you know, who played who? They played WWE. WWE played them. Whoever, whatever. They'll just be happy they've still managed to get one of those shows. And it's not NXT. It's one of the bigger ones. It's the biggest one. Roll through. Montez going into the corner. I'm here for every stream, says David, coming from Scotland. Who do you think should beat Seth for the title? What did you think of Dolph being released? Beating Seth for the title, I think there's a few options. I mean, I really like Nakamura doing it, because if he doesn't do it now, when's he going to do it? It just might not be happening for him. So, but equally, Nakamura could just be a bump in the road for Seth to finally lose it to like Gunther or something. But I don't think we should put the belt on Gunther that quick. Although, if you do, that's going to increase the chances of him holding it for a long time. Like, he can only have a long reign if that reign starts, like, earlier rather than later. So, if you want to get going on that reign, you need to get the belt on him. So, I don't know, maybe Triple H's plan is forget Nakamura. He's not in my long-term thinking, but Gunther is. So we'll have Seth lose to Gunther, and then Gunther can have a good long reign. Because to be honest, I reckon next year Roman loses the other belt. So, yeah, Nakamura or Gunther. In regards to what did I think of Dolph's release, I thought it was a shame, like everyone else, but I didn't think it was a surprise. He can't get onto TV. He's not being used. I think there was word that he was looking to potentially not re-sign anyway. And I'm probably more excited about him going to AEW. Because I think they would use him, and I think there's some good matches there, like him against Kenny and him against Ricky Stark. Kick out by Montez. Competitive little match, this. Zelina on the outsides. Bobby on the outsides. This, do you know what? This is one of those matches, right, that it doesn't really mean anything. There's no titles at stake, but it does mean something because Bobby is having a good look at who he's partnering with, and he's seeing if these guys are going to live up to his expectation. So Montez down in the corner as double knees there by Santos. Santos picking up Montez. And Montez on his feet. Santos going back against the ropes. Enziguri kick there by Montez. Montez coming over, making the tag. Grabbing a hold of... Oh, planting down Santos. 2. And a kick out by Santos. So, yeah, for Bobby, this is a good look at who he's partnering with. For the LWO... Well, they're trying to really establish themselves as a force. They're really trying to establish themselves as being, like, you know, a player in this kind of brand. And to be honest, they've struggled a little bit to, like, really get going. And so a loss here would be quite painful. Sit down powerbomb. Lovely work by Dawkins. Santos makes the save. Montez grabbing a hold of Santos. Santos reversing it, throwing Montez to the outside. Shot coming in there by Dawkins. Ray goes up over the top to the outside. He lands on top of Montez. Maybe a bit of a mistake there by Dawkins. He hurls Ray to the outside, but Ray just lands. Bobby getting involved. Bobby planting Ray on the edge of the ring. Charles Robinson didn't see that happen. Rey Mysterio reversing, and Rey steals the win. That's not good, is it? Bobby has helped the Street Profits, and it's Rey that's hit a roll through pinup. Dawkins, as of yet, maybe hasn't developed that killer instinct. If we're just going to take a moment just to try and improve Dawkins, do a bit of work with Dawkins. Dawkins is pretty gutted. That's really interesting, that is. Bobby just staring at the Street Profits. No, don't break this group up. Bobby's walking away, disappointed with what he's seen. Bobby's walking away. No, don't break this group up. Michael Cole says the Street Profits might be struggling with this new attitude. Michael Cole didn't seem to take that joke very well, did he? Kevin Patrick said, good to see you sitting down this week, Michael. You enjoyed the return of the great one. Michael Cole was like, shut up. Don't break that group up. I know, man. That would suck if they break that group up. Bobby is like, nah, these guys are amateurs. Let me call MVP. Alex said, what was your thoughts on the Panini deal being terminated? Apparently the rights go to Fanatics, who own Tops. Well, apparently that deal was starting in 2026. There was some sort of breach of contract, which obviously I don't know what it is. But, that's a surprise. It's not often that you see those kind of deals being terminated, so it's a surprise. But it's not like they weren't changing anyway in the future. But yeah, I mean, 3 years early? Pretty wild, isn't it? I said go and get Panini cards if you can, because it seems like these Panini cards are going to be ones that are just, gone now. They ain't making anymore. And the deal goes back to being Fanatics. So could there be some value in these cards? Getting the WWE Panini ones. You might not see value straight away. Fast forward 20, 30 years. I could see some of those Panini cards being worth a little bit more because of them having such a short run with the license. That's normally the sort of thing that does improve the rarity and the price and the demand. What do you think about CM Punk returning at Chicago? Says Wrestling Generation. I personally don't see it. I think if Chicago had been selected on purpose, then that might be a bit more interesting. Because then you'd be like, why Chicago? Of all the places they could have chose, why Chicago? But Chicago was chose whilst CM Punk was still in AEW. Chicago was selected before CM Punk even left, so certainly don't think there's any connection there. So it's just a happy coincidence. Here's Austin Theory, who is right to be upset. Austin Theory is shouting at Michael Cole for some reason. Theory feels disrespected. Why is he kicking off at Michael Cole? Dream match. Dream match. Why is Theory screaming at Michael Cole? Hopefully we find out. Frank the Tanky Tank said, I still remember when The Miz was WWE champion. How come he doesn't want to defend his belt against Bibby if The Miz would hold the title longer and have a good run? Well, The Miz doesn't want to. The Miz is like, he can worm his way to a title on rare occasions, like, but he's someone that's going to struggle to hold that title because, I mean, he gave his all against LA Knight last week and he lost. So he lost to LA Knight, and there's no shame in losing to LA Knight, but LA Knight is not someone that's been around the main event picture, and he's someone that is trying to get up to that level. So if Miz can't go toe to toe with someone that's never been to that level, it would suggest that the Miz doesn't really belong at that level either. And I don't think it's unfair to say that whenever Miz has felt champ, it's always felt not quite right. Like, it's always felt like, I don't think anyone really remembers fondly Miz as champion, because it always feels like he's cheated his way there and he's cheating his way to retain, and that's who he is, and that's fine. That's what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, like, he ain't gonna be taking on all comers, is he? Because he did lose the belt. That's why. Bobby is going to teach them how to be heels and have killer instincts, says FaZe Coasters. I don't mind it. I really like the group, and I think everyone's responded well to the group. So I don't expect them to just throw this group away. I really don't expect that. But I don't want to see that happen. I want to see them. I suppose the criticisms I've got is we don't have a name. They're still coming out to the Red Cups. They're still coming out to the same Titantron. They're still coming out to the same music. They've largely got the same ring gear. I want to see all of that change. And if this is part of that story of how we're going to be changing that, then yeah, man, cool. Sign me up. I want to see different. I don't want to see the Red Cups. I don't want to hear the same music. I don't want to. Certainly that god awful ring gear doesn't look. Do you know what? They look classy in their suits. They look classy. Bobby there with his glasses, the suits. When they're kind of sat around on the nice sofa, they look cool, classy. That's just not what the ring gear looks like to me. It doesn't look classy. I'd want something really sharp, really smart, really respectful, something respectable, something that really represented them well. As to what that would look like, I don't know. You'd pitch it to someone that designs costumes, see what they come up with. But I'd like to see quite a few changes. So hopefully this is just going to be a story that kind of plays into that and does see us move towards changes. So we are already nearly 40 minutes into this show. Just got a little advert for the football. Tomorrow, noon Eastern on Fox. Oh, here they are. Hello. Isla and Alba. Oh, are they going to take responsibility for the curse? Brilliant. Here's Grayson. Okay, so Grayson and Theory against Brawling Brutes has been made. Street Profits backstage. Let's go. They're going up to Bobby. Let's see what's what was that? He wants it all back. So Bobby says he wants the watches. Wants pull the trigger. Go sit in catering. They've got to learn to pull the trigger. Man, this is good, man. This is good. Not the way I thought they would go, but can you imagine Dawkins when he learns to pull the trigger? Right, now we've just got a little thing for Asuka. Who do you think is going to win? Because I think Asuka's going to win. Well, we've got a poll going at the moment. And in that poll... it's really close, you know. We've had nearly 1,000 votes. The flip. We've had nearly 1,000 votes. It's 60-40. So 60% of people are saying EO is going to win. And 40% of people have gone with Asuka. So 60-40 at the moment. 60-40. Days, I'm here for every stream. David, shout out to you. Alba and Isla in action, finally. I like the little promo earlier with the two women. It was good. What's Bobby talking about? You can't ask for gifts back, says Leo. Bobby can. I always thought the Red Solo Cup should have been blue whilst on SmackDown. Yeah, makes sense. Aiden said, are you doing boxing or UFC? We're doing UFC. Keep forgetting to set the stream up, which is really bad. I've actually got the thumbnail made and everything, and but I just haven't had a chance to. Well, I have had a chance, to be honest, but whenever I have had chance, I've always forgot about it. But it is UFC tomorrow. Sadly, Zhang and Joe Joyce is on at the same time as UFC this week, so it's a case of picking one. Right, video package, just hyping up that match later. That match now? Oh, that means that Cena and AJ have got to be in action later, doesn't it? Got to be in action later. Dream match. Here is Asuka making her way down to the ring. Smile on Asuka's face. Is EO ready for Asuka? Is Asuka ready for EO? This match could bang, man. This match could bang. This match could go. Yeah, good Alba and Isla vignette. I enjoyed that. Okay, we're going back to commercial break. Undercover Manager said, under TKO, could we see a revamped network? I feel it's an extra revenue stream that can be utilized, as we don't expect the Earth. Just a few exclusive shows every quarter give us more of the archive. I don't think so, to be honest, just because under TKO, they're going to want to make as much money as possible, and they're getting $1 billion from Peacock. So they don't need to do anything. They've made their money. They've got their money. I mean, when you might see like some bigger developments with the network would be when that deal with Peacock expires, or when it's close to expiring. I think they've got a 10-year deal with Peacock, which, I mean, when did that start? 2018, something like that, 2019. I mean, we've still got a good chunk of time to go. Once we're getting towards the end of that deal, though, you might see like what you've seen this year, where I think the shows have been a bit bigger. I mean, certainly look at NXT with what we've been doing there to try and get ratings because the TV deals are up. So, you know, then we might start to see a few exclusives as we get towards the end of that deal to try and convince Peacock to give us another billion. Give us another billion. And if they don't, then they'll shop it around. You know, I think it's only in the off chance that no one wants it or they can't get money for it and they have to go back to just doing it themselves. That's when you might start to see them go, because it was quite aggressive, wasn't it, for a good few years when they were starting. Every week they would talk about the network. Every week, only $9.99. I mean, the amount of times we heard Michael Cole saying it's only $9.99 and banging on about the network, it was constant. So I just don't think there's a need or a desire or anything to do it. It's business, and it's business. I mean, from a personal point of view, I would love more shows. I'd love more shows on the network. I'd love them to do more things. But from a business point of view, they just don't have to because they're getting paid. They've got their money. It's coming. So, thank you. So why do all extra work for no reason? I think it would only be if Peacock were not happy with the amount of people that were going to it and there was like conversations being had. Then you might start to see some sort of reaction. But Peacock know what they've purchased. They've purchased a fan base, basically, that are going to tune in at least once a month for the pay-per-view shows. So Peacock have basically bought 10 years of WWE pay-per-views, and they get the whole back catalogue as well. Like, they are really a destination for WWE fans in America. And they ain't going to bother about, I mean, the numbers of people that are subscribed in the UK comparative to that is very low. They ain't going to make content just for the UK audience. So, yeah, it's a shame because I would love to see them do more. I loved the days where we were getting the Edge and Christian show, and I loved like when we were doing stuff like that, and we were doing like Camp WWE, which wasn't the best, but at least it was summer. Legends House, great. And you know, the Legends of Wrestling Round Table and, you know, all that stuff, brilliant. So I would be right there to see all of that come back, but just don't know that it will. Backstage with Paul Heyman and Adam Pearce. Heyman is on the phone. So Asuka's made her way down to the ring. We're just waiting for Io Sky to head down. We're 12 minutes away from halftime scores. And we might be getting a big, juicy John Cena match as our main event. I don't know that that's been announced unless I missed it. I mean, he's trying to sort it, I think, here with Paul Heyman, isn't he? So that would be moody, man. Imagine you have John Cena hype that he's in a match. Adam Pearce tries to sort it, and then it doesn't happen. That would be moody. Here's Damage Control. We got Dakota. We've got Bayley. Dakota, Bayley, and Io. Dakota's got her knee brace on. It's funny, isn't it? I mean, you go back like to the 90s, 80s, whatever. Just you never saw people with knee braces outside of Austin, of course. Just wasn't a thing. But now you've got like Dakota, you got Zoe. There's a few that have to wear Tegan. Few that have to wear the knee braces. I think it's mainly because of the evolution of the move sets. The kind of match styles now mean that there's a lot more risk to the knee joints and the ACLs and everything. And so we're starting to see knee braces coming in to wrestling more. I wonder if they'll make them thinner in the future and less clunky. They look quite big, don't they, and uncomfortable. Io in the ring. Asuka in the ring. Time for our next match. Our Women's Championship match. Could we see Kairi Sane? If you was WWE, you go autopilot, you don't care, or you juice the numbers and try to retain as many people as possible, you are going from 122 million homes to 69 million. Is that the difference between Fox and USA Network, is it? 122 million to 69 million. That's a drop in it. That's a drop. Do you go autopilot or do you try as... You try, of course you try. I mean, listen, if you don't try, a bad situation can get made a lot worse. A lot worse. If you, I mean, going autopilot and just letting the numbers do what they're going to do, like, you might be able to do that for a week or two, but you can't do it for a sustained period. Because God only knows where the business would head to. So, no, nothing changes. You got to put in the same work. Every week's a fight. I keep saying it. It's not easy. It's not easy for AEW. It's not easy for WWE. And that is going to make things harder, isn't it? That's a lot of homes to lose. Charlotte Flair making her way down. Defcom said, why are MSG shows no longer on TV like back in the day? It's just deals, isn't it? I mean, this new deal to bring SmackDown to USA also means there's going to be 4 specials on, is it NBC? So they are doing the SmackDown shows, and then they're going to do 4 specials as well. What I would say is, I think MSG as a market, because of its history with WWE's history there, I think MSG is a show that will always sell out. It's a show that will always do well for WWE. That's home. MSG is home. So for them to go back there, I think they're guaranteed a good, strong house. You don't need really the added appeal of this is going to be taped for TV. You might be able to say, because I think if you go to a WWE show and you find out it's going to be shown on TV, you might, that might be something that convinces people to go along. Because I might be on TV. They might show me in the crowds. Or something might happen because it's the actual show. It's not a house show. It won't be a title change. Like, maybe we'll see a title change. So I think those shows are, they sell tickets because of that. It's on TV. Something might happen. Whereas MSG, I think, will just sell. So who knows? MSG shows, they could be the 4 specials going forwards. I'm looking forward to those specials. I hope, as I said, I hope they're not 4 special SmackDowns. I hope that they are 4 Saturday night main events, extra shows on a Saturday that are going to be booked and built up. And I suppose in a way, a bit like what AEW tried to do with Battle of the Belts. Hard though. Hard. Saturday is a very competitive night, but if you build it right and have basically a pay-per-view card, but it's just on TV, wow. Kick out by Asuka. Takeover, lovely headlock takeover, head scissors. Both women getting back up to their feet. Lovely chemistry as Io backflips away from Asuka. Io watching on. These 2 should cook, man. These 2 should cook. Asuka wants to shake hands. Kick coming in by Asuka. Asuka grabbing Io. Io going back against the ropes. Asuka rolls over. Look at that work by Asuka. Asuka coming over. Arm drag. Io goes down. Back up on her feet. Another arm drag. Io back up. Asuka to the middle rope. Perched. Io comes up. Grabs a hold of Asuka. She arm drags her from the middle rope. I don't quite know what Asuka was going for. Asuka went up. She was on that middle rope. She ended up being arm dragged. Now a moonsault to the outside. Misses by Io. Kick coming in there by Asuka as Io goes down. So Io down on the outside. As we go to commercial break. Charlotte is the best, said Jerry. A wild Nia Jax appearance. They better do a better job with Kyrie than they did last time, said Top Tier. When were the specials announced? Did they say what they would be called? No. It was just in the... So WWE put out a statement yesterday, but it was before the releases, and obviously the releases took the headlines. So it was a WWE put out saying that SmackDown was moving back to USA Network as soon as the deal is done with Fox. And as part of that agreement, they were going to do 4 specials each year as well. So there was no more detail than that, though. Don't know what they're called. Don't know what they're going to look like. Don't know where they're going to be. Don't know anything about them. Don't know when they are. It's just that 4 specials will be as part of that yearly contract. Scottish Nightmare said, Charlotte is a terrible wrestler. Everything just looks clunky from her. James said they could bring back Sunday night heats, but on a Saturday before the pay-per-views. Yeah. That's a special added bonus show, isn't it? I don't know. The only problem I'd have with that is that we are going to be excited for the pay-per-view. So we'll be like, oh, it's WrestleMania or it's SummerSlam, whatever, right? And I kind of feel like I'm excited that day anyway. And I'm thinking of the matches, and we've got the stream set up and all that kind of stuff. I think I'd rather just have it like, this week, like tomorrow. Let's do Saturday night's main event, and let's do a show that's, just extra. I think I would rather that more than do a show that just leads into a pay-per-view. Because at least then we're getting extra, I think the concern would be the big matches would go to the pay-per-view. So these special shows, they would just be those matches that didn't quite make it, There'd probably be some at juice, a mid-card title main event in that show or something. But, yeah, I think I'd just rather do it as like I think the old school fan in me wants Saturday night's main event to come back. That's what I want. I want Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant and Macho Man and George the Animal Steel and the British Bulldog. I want that, and I want Gorilla Monsoon on commentary, and I want Saturday night's main event, and I want Bobby Heenan back as well, and Mean Gene and The Fink. If we don't get that, I'm going to be disappointed. I'll be disappointed. Asuka back in the middle of the ring as Io is on the outside. Io off the top, missile drop kick. Asuka goes down. There's a kid in the second row that seems to be dressed as a referee. Got respect for that. Io looking to jump up. Missile drop kick again. Kip up by Io. So Io in control. Backing over to the corner. Io Sky, the genius of the Shirai. Io against the ropes. Double knees. Going for a cover. And kick out by Asuka. Might as well end the poll. I'm finding it hard to believe that Asuka's got a chance in this, to be honest. I really think this is Io all day long. But let's wait and see. We'll find out together, shall we? Chance for Io as Io is going up. Perch. There's a sign in the crowd that says no one is ready for Asuka. Asuka screams, goes over. Slap coming in there by Io. Io looking to climb up. Kicks coming in there by Asuka. Asuka throwing in these kicks. Man, really throwing them in. Asuka looking to climb up. Shouting out and grabbing a hold of Io. Looking to go for a superplex. Lovely camera shot. Love that camera shot. Big superplex. So we were just a little bit away from the ring, just slowly kind of looking at all the people in the background, circling around that top turnbuckle. Asuka goes for the cover. Shoulder up by Io. People in the front row not seemingly into it. if you look at their faces, they're not cheering and shouting and, like, you know, getting behind the girls here. But the action's all right. There's a bit of noise in the arena. WWE has done special shows on Sundays on Fox, either when there's only one NFL game. When the NFL season isn't going, they also run on FS1, FS2, the Fox cable stations. 2, shoulder up. JM Beer said this match is definitely WrestleMania vibes. Okay, Asuka against the ropes. Io against the ropes. Meeting in the middle. Looked like it wasn't like a clothesline. Did she hit her with an open palm? Don't think she hit her with a close. It looked like she smashed her in the face with an open palm as she came back off the ropes. Bang. Interesting. Io grabbing Asuka, middle of the ring. Asuka trying to get over to the ropes. Grabs them as a couple of back elbows come in. German suplex bridge by Io. And, oh, lovely. Is that Kimura? Kimura, and it's in as well. Kimura locks in. Don't often see Asuka with a Kimura, but she's got the arm around the back. Ah, Io. Oh, into an armbar. Armbar. Oh, my God. And it looked quite good as well. But, again, Io powers out of it. Shots coming in there by Io. Io getting back up to her feet. Kick coming into the midsection. Asuka goes down. Kick to the head by Io. Asuka down. Io down. You can see some marks on the legs of Io where she's took some punishment. Io's getting up and she's just said something to the referee there. Io's just said something to the referee. I don't know what she's just mouthed, but she mouthed something. Back elbow coming in by Asuka. Kick coming in by Asuka. Was it like send this home? Let's take it home. Missile drop kick by Asuka. Io bumps over to the other side. Asuka charging over. Hip attack into Io. Into looking for a German. Back elbow coming in. Against the ropes goes Io. Knee coming in there by Asuka. Oh, spinning back fist kick to the midsection. And again, Asuka just constant onslaught. Oh, kick to the head. I mean, it should do it, but it doesn't do it. That really felt like it should have been the end, man. It was just wave after wave after wave of attack by Asuka. Lovely spinning back fists. There's some really good action in this. Some really good stuff, but and I'm really buying into Io is injured. I'm really believing that there's like, she seems a bit groggy. I think the fact that she had a word with the ref as well kind of really helps me buy into she's a bit groggy as well. But she goes up. Wow. That's nice. Io launches herself off that top rope, hits a drop kick midair to Asuka, who was on the top turnbuckle. Asuka spills to the outside. Io comes over. Charges over, goes over the top, looks to Asuka, holds on to the rope. Oof. Oh, she still gets powerbombed, but not as bad as it would have been. Not as bad as it would have been. Asuka and Io kick by Asuka. She kicks the ring post. Io moves out the way. Io looking to go back into the ring, rolling underneath that bottom rope. Some lovely action here. Some really lovely action. You can tell the chemistry is there between these two. You can tell that these two know each other and know each other so well that they know what the other is going to do before they do it. Io with a moonsault to the outsides. Lands on top of Asuka. Asuka goes down. Io. So it's a fun little contest, man. It's a fun little contest. Fight forever, said SQRL13. It's an interesting powerbomb attempt, said Chris. I tell you, if she had have hit it, it would have looked amazing. If she had actually gone over and bang, I mean, that she could have really delivered that with some ferocity. So it would have been awesome. But Asuka holding on. But we don't need to hold on because it's time.
Halftime scores, everybody, it's the halftime scores. I really want to know your halftime scores. Put it in the chat. Halftime scores, everybody, it's the halftime scores. Are you happy? It's the halftime scores. Are you happy or you sad? Halftime scores, everybody, it's the halftime scores. I should get that recorded. If I got it recorded, I could just press play then. Just sit here like this.
There we go. Get in your scores. Get in your scores. Anthony says 10. Trini said 7. Trey said 575. Chris said 6. Goat said Asuka, don't hurt EO. Mark said 7. Josh says 10. DS Boy says 8. Seth Freaking Roland said 6.5. Jay said 7. Wrestle with Andy said the greatest night in the history of our sports. WWE fan says 8.99. Terry with a 7. Jam said just something seems off between these two. PJ Leon said they need to book Asuka versus Sky more often. They have tremendous chemistry. Sakila said no. LA Knight 5.5. Reyes said 7. Big Time said Asuka's in-ring rate has slowed. Maybe a lack of motivation. It doesn't feel like she's given it 100%. Perhaps it's age. Woopack AP said 5. Liam said 6.5. Daniel said 7.95. Samantha said 6. Stand and Fight says 8 points Asuka out of EO. Nothing interesting so far, says Woopack AP. Hayden said 7. AR1 said 5. King Yeti said 4. Ray says 8. Shift God said we might get LA Knight, be patient. Andy said 7.8. Perfect 10 said Guys. 6 said Sunny. Scott said 6.5. AB Jobson says 8. Alex said best show ever 4. Chris said 6. Hayden with a 7. Norma with a 4.9. We're going back to the action. I think this is a good match. I don't think it's an all-time classic, right? I don't think it's like one of those where we're like, oh my God, did you see this? It's a 5-star. I don't think it's anything like that, but it's a fun TV match. And it feels like these two are in a real battle, a real contest. We rejoin the action as EO tries to get a 2 count. Asuka is down. EO trying to go over, trying to grab Asuka, looking to put in. There's a Eddie Thorpe sign in the crowd, which is a bit random, but fair play. She jumps over. We've got EO with a crossface being applied now to Asuka. Asuka trying to get over to the ropes. So we're well into this second hour now. 8 minutes in. Asuka lock applied. Asuka lock applied. EO in trouble. EO in trouble. EO in trouble. Asuka lock applied. EO trying to get. EO is in trouble. She gets out. Oh, kick coming in by Asuka. Asuka going for the cover. 2. Oh, EO just grabs the rope. She was right by the rope. Just grabs the rope. Michael Cole said exhaustion setting in. Over in the corner goes Asuka. Kick to the midsection of EO. Asuka going up to that. Takes some out of EO there. 2. Oh my God. That felt like it was 3. The referee says 2. That really felt like a 3. Need to see a replay of that. Shots coming in. Forearm strike coming in there by both women. I've got the replay on screen here. She goes over. 1, 2. Yeah, no, it's fine. The thing is, the ref comes in, and as he slides in, he sort of like stops himself and kind of does that. And it feels like that's the one, but it's not. Right now, in the middle of the ring, EO is getting caught with another Asuka lock. These two are really battling away at the moment. EO trying to get over to the ropes, but Asuka is holding her back. Asuka grabbing Io. Io still down. Oh my God, look at that. Into another Asuka lock. The only thing I would say is, at what point does one of these actually get the victory? Like, how many Asuka locks can Io actually get out of? Back elbow coming in by Io. Roll up there by Io. 1, 2. Reversal by Asuka. Io back up on her feet. A standing Asuka lock. A standing Asuka lock. Asuka. Oh, damn. This has got to be it. How many times can Io get out of an Asuka lock? How many? Right now, she's getting over to the ropes. Referee is right by the ropes. It looks like he's there so that someone can pull his leg out the ring. Charlotte's coming round. Bayley is putting Io's foot on the rope. Bayley put onto the rope. Charlotte gets involved. Double knees by Io. Io going up top, looking for the moonsault. Moonsault connects, and that's probably going to do it. 2, 3. So Asuka retains. So Bayley helps put Io's foot on the ropes. It's a fun match. I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed the battle. I do question, like, Io managing to survive so much Asuka offense. So many Asuka locks. I mean, she had to really, really dig deep. She had to really dig deep. At what point does it just go a bit too far? At what point does it just start to become a little bit too much? I'm all for kicking out of stuff, but... So Bayley put Io's foot on the ropes. Charlotte attacks Bayley. Io hits a moonsault and retains her title. A battle that had quite a bit of time, actually. Io holding up that title, celebrating. We go backstage with Solo. Put out of 5 what you thought about that match. Okay, we've got Solo and Jimmy. There was a bruise on Io's right shoulder. She had been in the wars, hadn't she? Heyman said, as long as the match isn't tonight, I'm fine with it. So they're going to sign it, but I don't think we're going to get it. Okay, here's Heyman. So decisions like that need approval first. After tonight, there won't be anyone left to fight us at Fastlane, says Solo. Tell you, if I was Roman, flipping the wise man calling me all the time, I'd be really peeved off. I'd be like, deal with it. It's fight night. There's a t-shirt I saw that says, my favorite sport is scripted, with a wrestling ring on it. That's nice, Caps man. That's nice. That's a good shirt. Callum said, did you see Paddy Pimblett? Tony Ferguson is announced. Oh, someone told me Tony Ferguson had been released. Have they really announced that match? That's a big match, if so. That was BS amazing match, but then it's needlessly includes Charlotte and a distraction pin, said Jim. Roman is the most irrelevant champion in pro wrestling history, says Oblong Box. Solo can talk, said AR1. He used to talk a bit down in NXT. Right, Butch and Ridge Holland taking on Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. So I'm still confused as to whether we're getting this flipping match or not. I think we've sort of suggested we're not, and that they're going to sign the contract. Is it going to be at Fastlane now? Solo said, don't worry, after tonight, there won't be anyone to face us at Fastlane. So sort of guessing that this contract is going to be a contract for Fastlane. Don't know. It's a bit confusing. I think we could have made this a bit simpler. Brawling Brutes against Grayson Waller, Austin Theory next. What is day-to-day schedule for you, said Alex. Is it odd to wander around at 4 a.m.? What meals would you eat? Do you go to do after before the streams? Schedule for me would probably be the same as normal, but just change it by 12 hours. So, I might get up about 6 p.m., which would, 12 hours earlier would have been 6 a.m. And I'll probably go to bed about 11 or 12, which in like lunchtime, which 12 hours earlier would have been midnight. So I do exactly the same stuff as you would in the day. I just do it 12 hours differently. So, it's pretty much the same. The only thing I'm not very good at is, and the one thing that is strange, is that when I get up, I tend to have dinner rather than breakfast. That's weird. I tend to get up and have like a big dinner, and then I just have to kind of find some food throughout the rest of the day. My eating is not brilliant. I'll tend to eat when I get up about curry. So I tend to do that, and then throughout the rest of the night, I don't tend to have anything because I'm streaming quite a bit. But then after the stream, I'll always have a bowl of cereal. It's weird. I'll have cereal when I should have dinner, and I'll have dinner when I probably should have cereal. So, eating's a bit messed up. But really, other than that, it's the same. They should have had an LA Knight team with Cena, said Dylan. Is it bad I've got no desire to see this Brawling Brutes match? Not really. I don't think the Brawling Brutes are the most exciting thing in the world. I think they're an all right team. I think they're an all right, tag team. But I don't know. At no point have I accepted that Butch is Butch, right? And it's been so long now. But that is Pete Dunne, right? That is Pete Dunne. Butch, I can't see Butch main eventing WrestleMania, even if it's night one, right? Pete Dunne, though, if we got the right creative, like I've seen him be like a long reign in NXT UK champion. I've seen him be the face of a brand, NXT UK. Granted, small brand. But, we were doing stuff with Pete Dunne down in developmental. He was cool. And then we brought him up and made him Butch. So, I don't know. That is a barrier for me. And obviously, Ridge has got a bit of a reputation for injuring people. Obviously, most famously, Big E. So, that's been a little bit of a problem as well. Plus, we didn't see loads and loads of him when he was in NXT. He's not someone that I've got much of a connection with other than what we've seen on the main roster. And what we've seen on the main roster, most notably, has been some injuries. So, yeah, I don't know. Brawling Brutes, I think they work well with Sheamus, but away from Sheamus, I can understand why people just aren't really that bothered. Talking of someone else that got injured at the hands of Ridge, of course, we got Pretty Deadly. They look to be at the Performance Center here, don't they? That looks like the Performance Center medical room. So, Pretty Deadly discussing their catastrophic shoulder injury. He's trying to get a drink in the background. He knocks it off. Reminds me a bit of, I I don't know if you saw the Roderick Strong thing on Wednesday where he was in the hospital bed and it was like, and he was like in the bed. It's kind of fun. Just reminds me a bit like that. Elton falls over. He's got a separated shoulder, but he'll be fine. And in the background, they're doing work on the legs. Heartfelt. This is the kind of thing that Breezango would have done. The long road to recovery continues. Hashtag Elton Strong. So a little glimpse at the rehab process for Pretty Deadly. These Butch and Ridge take on Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. Okay, Grayson Waller making his way down to the ring. Let's change it on screen. We've got only 39 minutes left to go, you know. Poor Elton. Poor Elton. Have you ever woke a family member up doing loud reactions? Look like you used to be in quite an echoing conservatory in the odd stream. No. Well, I mean, I don't know that I woke them up, but a long time ago, I was in a different room. And yeah, I am a bit more out the way here, which is much better. But I'm not aware that I ever woke them up. Here's Theory and Grayson then head into the ring. James said, I just tweeted you. It is Tony against Paddy. Oh, so what was that report that he'd been binned off then? More fake news. Pimlet Ferguson at UFC 2 nights. I mean, Ferguson seems pretty washed at this point, but he has still been at a very high level, and there's clearly still a fighter there. You've still got to be really good to get past Tony Ferguson. So I know a lot of people are going to look at that and just see that UFC are feeding a washed-up fighter to Paddy, but the other argument would be that Tony is someone that has been at a very high level. He has declined. We don't know how far that decline has, you know, and that's a big fight, man. That's a fight I would like to see. So I'm on board with Paddy Pimblett against Tony Ferguson. I'm on board with that. Okay, we are underway with Theory and Butch. What's our main event tonight? What's our main event going to be? I'm guessing it's just going to be a contract signing. Bembo said, I can just imagine Roman sitting there telling his wife, I need to go outside and do my weekly call with Paul. There's always something going on a Friday. I mean, it's hard to have a lot of sympathy for him because he could be on the show. I mean, it's one thing to sit at home with your wife and just take the odd phone call in it compared to actually getting on a plane and getting to the show. So, but yeah, I would still be a bit like, deal with it, would you? Grayson working on the arm of Butch. I was an hour late in the stream. I think YouTube is banged up. It's not hit sub boxes. Yeah, there was people saying about like microphone issues and bits and bobs as well. That's interesting. That's interesting. The views do look a little bit lower than usual tonight. So lower than I would have thought, if I'm going to be honest. So good to know that it might just not be that people don't like hanging out on the streams and that it might be a YouTube thing. He's picking him up, Ridge, and hurling Grayson across the ring. So if you are just joining us, big shout out to everyone that's stopped by. It is true that Matt Riddle has been released by WWE. A higher up in WWE said that Matt Riddle had run out of chances So it's believed that he went because of that and not really because of the cuts, but we don't really have confirmation on that at the moment. To the outside goes Butch. Grayson Waller in the ring at the moment. Butch trying to get back up to his feet. Waller coming out after him. Butch into the timekeepers area. Now we're going to see beats of the battering. We've got big shots raining down by Butch on Grayson. Ridge throwing in the shots. The theory, and I think that's probably going to be taking us to commercial break. And we do go to commercial. I suggest WWE host a Hunger Games. Those eliminated get released. Now, the IWC can't hate on WWE for other releases, says Sakilla. Roman hasn't been cut. He's not advertised as of yet. I could imagine Roman sitting there. Oh, we've read that one. Do you think Matt Riddle also was released because of what Dana White experienced with him? Now they are merged together? No. Undercover Manager said, with the 4 specials, I would like us to get a retro look old school Saturday night main event, same. That would be cool. I would like to see a Cyber Saturday with polls on X, maybe, like a Taboo Tuesday idea. Yeah, I'd be down for that. I would like the old school Saturday night main event. I suppose we have to be honest in saying how many people are going to remember that, though. Like, a lot of the kids and a lot of the people that are watching now probably never saw a Saturday night's main event. I mean, you can go back on the network, of course, but there's so much to go back to on the network. At what point are you going to get to Saturday night's main event when you've got all the WrestleManias, SummerSlams, Rumbles, you know? As more content has been made over the years that we've just watched as the years have gone by, as more of that content has been made, it makes it harder and harder to go back to certain shows. I mean, it's harder and harder to get back to old Raws and Smackdowns and things like that. So I would love it. I'd absolutely put my vote in that box. I would love to have an old school Saturday night's main event feel, but don't know. I'm not going to hold my breath that we're going to do that. And we did do Saturday night's main event, didn't we, in the past? And it had like a new updated logo and everything. So it's probably just going to be that. If we do a Saturday night's main event, it'll probably, which could work, could be fine, could be good. We'll see. For people growing up now, the Attitude Era was what the Bruno era was to us watching in the 90s. Yeah, that's true. That's true. The only thing I would say, though, is I think in the 90s, the Bruno era, there wasn't loads of footage. It was obviously hard to find. I mean, I never saw any in the 90s. I heard certain names, but you know, it wasn't until we got like YouTube and whatever, and certainly the network, that you got exposed to a lot more, or actually started to see some of that stuff. Tape trading was how it was done in America, and I'm sure there was tape trading in the UK, but I was not a part of that. That's where people would have tapes of shows and, you know, swap them with friends and, you know, whatever, get them and copy them. Back in the day, you could get 2 video players, connect them and like record. So you could copy tape to tape. I'd imagine there was a lot of that going on. Yeah, you know, that's how people would like learn and see footage from different territories. And think of all the footage in America as well. All the different states had their own kind of wrestling promotion. So you'd have all the footage from all the different promotions that you wouldn't even get to see on TV. So that kind of system was the only way of getting to see that kind of footage. So lots of tape trading, lots of stuff like that going on. But yeah, I think it's obviously a little different now because a lot of it's just a lot easier access. You can go back and watch that whole era if you want. It's all on the network. But it is true, the time difference is the same. You are right. I think we are comparing though two different companies in a way, because obviously the one was Vince Jr., the other was Vince Senior. The one was WWF compared to WWF. So you know, there are some differences, but time wise, it is very, very true. Right, we are back to the action. Sheila said, I watched Edge's 25th anniversary celebration SmackDown match. It was great. Did Sheamus turn heel during the match? Fans were booing. Is Adam Copeland? I think he was heel during the match because, you know, it's Edge. Edge is a face. It was Edge's. It was in Toronto. It was Edge's 25th year anniversary. Like, if you're gonna do like heel versus face dynamic, then Sheamus is gonna be the heel. So I don't know that it was a heel turn, but certainly there were some moments where Sheamus was happy to kind of embrace that role for that match. Shot coming in there by Theory. To drop kick coming in there by Butch. We got half an hour to go. Chop coming in by Butch. Forearm strike coming back by Grayson Waller. So these two unloading on each other. What were you watching SmackDown on? What am I watching SmackDown on? Watching it on TNT Sports. Oh, hello. Ridge collides into Grayson. Grayson goes into the corner. Theory up in the air. And down. He gets caught and planted by Ridge. 2. Kick out by Theory. Theory kicks out. Ridge thought he had done enough to secure the victory. So, WWE Elimination Chamber. Saturday, February 24th was revealed at a press conference to be Western Australia by Kofi and Woods. Oh, Butch goes over the top to the outside. No kick out. Theory has got Ridge on his shoulder. Ridge headbutt to Theory. Theory going back against the ropes. He's got Theory up, plants him down, goes for the cover. 1, 2. Shoulder up by Theory again. Shoulder up by Theory. Kick coming in by Theory. Ridge grabbing Theory. Looking to turn him over. He's trying to turn him over. Theory in trouble. Theory screaming away. Theory looking like he's going to tap. Butch jumps up. Jumps onto the back of Grayson. So Grayson's in trouble on the outside. Theory's in trouble on the insides. Grayson comes in. Lovely stunner by Grayson. Up on the shoulders of Theory. A-Town down. A-Town down connects, and that's going to get the win for Theory and Grayson. It was a fun little contest in the end. So Theory and Grayson managing to get the victory. Bang. Stunner by Grayson. Allows Theory to hit A-Town down. A-Town down. WWE released Matt Riddle. They did. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory win, said Legend Killer. Tony Ferguson, Paddy Pimblett. Coming up, UFC 296, said Bonkers. Jess says, my dad passed away about a month ago. Liver and kidney failure. I'm really sorry to hear about that, dude. I'm really sorry to hear that. That's really hard. That's really hard. I've been fortunate not to lose either of my parents yet, so I can't advise as to how you would deal with that. But I would just imagine surround yourself with loved ones and just take each day as it comes. That's one that we all have to go through at some point. Well, most of us have to go through at some point, and It's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. AJ and Cena against Solo and Jimmy. Now, it's not a match. I suppose I should write it this way instead. It's the contract signing. So it looks like it is going to be such a shame that they teased it. That's cheeky, actually, if you think about it. Like, I'm going to do a match tonight. People stick around, and then actually it gets made for Fastlane. That is cheeky. I think it just said on the graphic, Fastlane contract signing. It's a good match, but is it a Fastlane match? Is it a Fastlane match? I mean, I suppose like Cena in action is going to excite people. People will definitely want to tune in for that, won't they? People will definitely want to tune in to see like Cena competing. And I suppose you've got the interest of Solo and Jimmy, and can they coexist? Can they coexist? So I suppose there's a bit there, but I don't know, man. This doesn't feel as strong as a Roman title defense, does it? Maybe this isn't going to be the main event, though. Maybe this is just a match on the card. You know, perhaps the main event will be Seth Nakamura, and so one of the supporting matches will be this match. WrestleVotes are claiming that more cuts are expected at the weekend. Oh, really? James in the know. So more cuts expected this weekend. Where's WrestleVotes? Let's have a little look. WrestleVotes. 8 minutes later, we have confirmation from Riddle. Ultra talented performance who will find success anywhere. 2 hours ago. Unfortunately, I'm told to expect one more talent release over the course of the weekend. That was 2 hours ago? Oh, right. Okay. I think they were only saying expect one more, and then I think that has been confirmed to be Riddle. Yeah. So it says, I'm told to expect one more talent release over the weekend. And then 8 minutes later, confirmation from Riddle. Ultra talented performer who will find success anyway. So I think that's it. Right, Ray and Santos coming up next week. So next week, we've got Ray against Santos Escobar. And Charlotte is going to be taking on Bayley next week. Bobby Lashley is going to be on the Grayson Waller effects. So next week, Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar, Charlotte versus Bayley, and Bobby Lashley on the Grayson Waller effect. That seems okay. Charlotte Bayley, I mean, two of the horsewomen going at it. Certainly if they let them cook like they did Asuka and Io tonight, it could be good. Bobby's going to have a lot to say. Maybe Bobby brings out the new and improved Street Profits next week. That could be good. Adam Pearce says that this is going to serve as one of the main events for Fastlane. The greatest of all time, John Cena, being brought back out again. Okay, so Cena comes out. Let's sign this and let's have this match. We got 20 minutes of the show left. 20 minutes to go. There's a reason that Charlotte's a horsewoman, and it's not because she was one of the 4, says Jim. Cena, GOAT, not even close, said excellence of execution. Chris said, I hate these contract signings. Bonkers says Paddy Pimblett, Tony Ferguson. Yeah, I like it. Defcom said, my unpopular opinion. Okay. I like knowing what matches are scheduled before the week. I hate the instant we get a match story and stuff. AJ Styles getting his intro. We need a poll. Who is the GOAT, John Cena or The Rock? Well, I think you'd probably have to put a few more in. Who is the GOAT? I'll do the poll, but I've got to add Stone Cold. John Cena. Rock. Roman. Stone Cold. Maybe Hogan should be in there as well, but he didn't make it. Right, backstage, Jimmy is attacking AJ Styles. Wow, we've got some action. So, backstage, Jimmy destroys AJ Styles. Solo. John Cena goes back to try and help. Solo standing on like a platform watching on. He's going to jump off there. Nah! Oh! No way, that's a high platform. Didn't see what he landed on. Guessing there's probably like some sort of crash mat or something, but no way did I think he was jumping off that. But he launched himself off this really, I don't even know what it is. It looks a bit like the back of the entranceway. Wow, just this, it looks really good, man. It looks really good. I'm sure there was a crash mat or something there, but there was a table. Now we've got the back of the screens are like exploding and everything. Solo flips a table over. They're trying to get to AJ. There's a couple of tables, so it wasn't a crash mat. It was a couple of tables. They could have swapped them out, I suppose, but maybe not. I could see Solo landing on top of AJ that was on these tables. We've got broken tables, AJ down. It's a really cool spot, man. It's a really cool spot. Look good. That was brutal, said Mole Jam. Should have added Mick Foley, Terry Funk, and Ultimate Warrior, says Anna. But that was as bad as Kurt being thrown off the stage by Big Show, said Chris. Where is the Good Brothers at, says Jadam. I don't know. I mean, like AJ had a bit of a go at them, didn't he? I think they've gone off in a bit of a sulk. They're sulking in the corner. They put the table under him on the quicks. That's why they cut to the commentator, says Juan. Yep, they could definitely have done that. Could have been a thing where actually Solo just lands on a crash mat and then cut to the commentator, come back and just put AJ in some broken tables there so it looks like it was that instead. We'll never know. We will never know what truly happens. But all I do know is it looked good. I wasn't expecting him to jump off something like that high backstage. It's a bit like, do you remember, it was about this time last year when Liv lost the title to Ronda and then she started to do like extreme stuff. I remember her climbing up some like metal work backstage and jumping off of it, and I wasn't expecting her to do that. It reminds me a little bit of that. Look good though. Look good. Solo would be hurt if it was real, says Mark. No Ric Flair, boo, rather than woo. But with the whole chat saying Wrestling Days AR1, shout out to you. JB said, I'm enjoying Jimmy Uso's new character more than Jay's. I think I'm in the minority. David said Roman wanted more money and called Pierce. Capsman said, I will say I like the XFL, the USFL, the CFL, arena football more than NFL and college football. I would have Undertaker on the GOAT list, says Liam. Well, let's word it this way, right? Who's the GOAT out of them four, right? Who's the greatest of all time out of them four? We're seeing what's going to go down on Raw. Where does this leave the contract signing as well? We got 14 minutes to go. What are we going to do now? Maybe we have Solo and Jimmy come down to the ring, say a few words, and John Cena confronts, or I don't know. What we doing? What we're doing right now is we're getting a bit of a promo for this week's Raw. AJ is being loaded up. There's the Good Brothers. There's Michin. Look great, man. It looked really good. So, do you know, I think this SmackDown's been an interesting one because it's been a pretty standard episode. But, like, that's a really nice moment. And I really enjoyed Ascario. I also thought Brawling Brutes, Grayson Theory had some nice moments in it. When AJ is pushed, I don't know, it doesn't quite sound like he lands on a crash mat to me, but... And that doesn't sound like a crash mat either. The audio sounds really good during that moment as well. They've done it well. I tell you what, a little bit of thought's gone into that. So they're just showing a replay of it. Okay, Jimmy and Solo flipping over that table, walking away. We're just seeing AJ. I mean, we literally just saw this. There's John Cena. Cena arrives. Here's Paul Heyman then, making his way down. We got 12 minutes left. 12 minutes left. Paul Heyman slowly makes his way to the ring. Do you know what I really like about this? Like, we're going to the ring. We're watching Paul Heyman come out. We're going backstage. We're seeing AJ loaded into an ambulance. It's got a chaotic feel to it. I really like that. I feel like something's happening. Like, well, okay, he's going to the hospital. What's Heyman saying in the ring? What's Cena going to do? Carl Anderson said, I told him not to get involved in this bloodline stuff. Good line. Now, what does Cena do? Now we go back and Solo and Jimmy are on their way to the ring as well. I really like the production here. How we're going backstage, we're going to the ring, we're going backstage, going back to the ring. It's not like we do the backstage stuff in one go and then we do the in-ring stuff in one go. It's we're there. Cena's going to need a new partner. Potentially. And we're back to Bloodline actually doing something. We're back to Bloodline, like, stamping their authority on the show. We're back to Bloodline sending messages. Good end. This is good. Michin is going to replace Solo in the match. I thought you'd say AJ. LA Knight. LA Knight could be the one, yeah. LA Knight could be the one. John Cena's going to need someone by his side. LA Knight could be that replacement. That's a good shout. I tell you what, I think that's going to be very well received, isn't it? This show could end with Cena coming out saying that there's no way AJ's going to make it. It's going to need a new opponent, a new partner. Bringing out LA Knight. Boos by the crowds. Heyman again, cutting a promo. My name is Paul Heyman. I liked him before way more, like most. What did the chairs do to you, Solo? Says AR1. I have in my hands a contract. The second greatest of all time, John Cena. So no tag team partner for Fastlane. I wonder if the crowd will start an LA Knight chant. Is there a Cody chant? Is that a Cody chant? Look what happens when you mess with the bloodline, says Jimmy. If you're smart, like you say you're smart. You'd get in that ambulance and you would go far, far away. It's not a prediction, it's a spoiler. You the twos. John Cena comes running down to the ring. Cena comes down. Shots coming in by Cena. Cena hurling Solo into the ring steps. Cena goes against the ropes. Collides into Jimmy. Cena's going to look for... Thought he was going to go AA. He doesn't. Looks like we're in position for a 5-knuckle shuffle. Jimmy tells Cena... He the two, super kick there by Jimmy. What are they chanting? Are they chanting Rocky? Is that the chant? It's a Rocky chant. Jesus, they're dreaming, aren't they? Are they really chanting Rocky? I thought they were chanting Cody. Jimmy stepping through the ropes. Solo in the ring. It's got to be LA Knight, says Chris. Yeah, that's the one I'm expecting. Solo looks at the entranceway. How long we got? We still got 6 minutes? Oh my God. Gonna have to beat him up a bit more. Poor John Cena. It's not quite time yet. Jimmy's sat on the top turnbuckle. Solo with Cena. Solo, Samoan spike. Cena goes down. Do you know what? It's not a bad thing, actually, to just, like, really beat him down. Really builds up the booze. It's just going to hit even harder, isn't it, when he comes out? So, Jimmy is perched. Jimmy looking for that big splash. Lands on Cena. Cena gets splashed on. Solo standing over John. Jimmy looks to the outside. Grabs the contract. Beat up John Cena 2016 all over again, says Hayden. Contract is signed by Jimmy. Goes to hand it over to Solo. Solo signs it. Do they bring him out this week, or does John have to spend next week trying to find a partner? Solo and Jimmy have signed the contracts. Big splash by Jimmy. These two standing tall, raising the wands. Still got 4 minutes here. Crowd booing away. Bloodline music, is it? Crowd booing. John Cena is destroyed. Yeah, what's it going to be? Is it going to be like out he comes? Just to let you know that this is the direction it's going to go in? Or do we do like John Cena trying to find a partner next week? I completely agree with the chat, 100%. I think this is going to be LA Knight. Cena's still down. So we had nearly 300 votes. John Cena is the GOAT. Confirmed. Done. No arguing. The Rock only got 25%. Solo, Jimmy raising up the ones. They the ones. Cena the twos. That's still booing. No! I thought it would be this week. I did. I thought it would be this week. And we go off screen. Jeez, I tell you what, when I thought they were chanting Cody, I was like, nah, it won't be Cody. Unless this is, because we know that there's that trade. And they're like, you know, someone's coming over from Raw. We still haven't dealt with that. Maybe it is Cody. Maybe it is Cody for that reason. Someone's coming over and maybe it's Cody. I think you'll get lots of videos on YouTube of people speculating as to who it's going to be. I think the LA Knight one makes sense. But Cody does make sense as well. So yeah, I thought they were chanting Cody and I was like, nah, I mean, he's on Raw. But thinking about it, because of the trade thing, it could have been. There ain't no way. Rocky. I didn't realize it was Rocky. You give people Rock for 1 week. This is the problem. You give people an inch, they want a mile. You give them a little something nice, they want it again and again and again. So yeah, I think that was a bit of wishful thinking there. But LA Knight, I think, would still be my top pick. But it could be Cody. Cody could be the one that's traded over. LA Knight makes more sense because of the confrontation with Heyman a few weeks ago, said Chris. We got endeavored. Surely Cody because of the trades. I honestly, I think they both make sense. I think LA Knight is being pushed. And I think that putting him in a match with Cena would be like, you know, really investing in him. And there was that moment. But, you know, Cody's the one, I think, that gets the belt from Roman. So if he is going to get traded over, him coming to John's aid as well, like, and him still being around and now kind of being introduced and being back and being a problem for the bloodline, like, that all makes sense as well. So honestly, I think it's one of those. But LA Knight would, if I had to pick, would be the pick just because I know he's on SmackDown. I don't know that Cody is being traded. And even if he is being traded, I don't know that it's yet. So LA would still be my pick. But yeah, it could be either of those. Cody will get traded. He keeps getting cut off for weeks, said Seattle. No LA Knight, no Cody, no Randy. Logan will be... Oh, my God. I feel like The Rock says one. Robert said, could it be Jay Uso? John Cena and Jay Uso versus Solo and Jimmy. Don't think so, just because Jay's over on Raw. And I know, like, we do have people coming over, and we saw the Miz and all that, so it's not impossible. But I just think that we've got more. Let's say we got more likely options. Jay went to Raw to get away from the Bloodline, so I don't think he would come back here. But it's not the worst. It's not the worst thing I've ever heard. That would make sense. King Yeti said John Cena is the GOAT. Sure. Austin 316 says, "What the beep? What? Listen, King Yeti. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you're not happy with the result, but that is scientific. Nearly 300 people voted. It's as close as we're ever going to get to establishing the actual answer. So I don't know what to say. My hands are tied, bud. My hands are tied." Lennox said Randy Orton being Cena's partner makes sense since his last match for the injury was against the Usos for a unification match. K-pop lover said check the Sean Ross Sapp tweet. Let's check Sean Ross Sapp. Sean Ross Sapp. Originally, LA Knight was listed as being involved in tonight's contract signing. Knight was listed as a surprise to help John Cena. He was also listed in a dark match. We're told this was not a Vince change. It was a medical related. Okay. So there we go. Word on the street is LA Knight was going to be the one. But for medical reasons, he hasn't come out this week. Now, if those medical reasons are going to keep him out for a little while, could that force a change? Could that force a change in direction? Much does that suck for LA Knight? Can you imagine being LA Knight and you've spent your career in like Impact, TNA, NWA, NXT, on the Indies, you get to the main roster, you're Max Dupree, you finally become LA Knight, then you get over but you're not being used. You finally get to the point in your career at the age of 40 where you are going to be in the main event segment, the closing segment of SmackDown, where the Bloodline and John Cena need a new partner, and you are going to be that partner, and you are over, and the fans are ready to explode, and everyone's booing, and we're waiting to find out who's going to come to Cena's aid, and you're going to be that person. And then due to a medical issue, you are not able to capitalize on that opportunity. I mean, there'll be a lot of people hoping that he'll be the one that's, it's just a bad week, little sprain or whatever, right? And that he'll still get his opportunity next week. But, oh my God, how disappointing if this is one that he can't do for medical reasons. How disappointing. For him and for many of the fans, I think R-Truth has more chance to be seen as partner than The Rock. Mr. Dale Jr. said, what would you score it? I would score it a 7 or a 7.25. I would score it a 7.25. I'm guessing it was somber backstage after the layoff, said A.B. Jobson. Yeah, actually, that's a good shout. They've done a good job here, considering all those layoffs. Chris said the medical might be something to do with the signing of his new contract. They will probably repeat the segment next week, which is why no one came to Cena's aid. What if Cena's partner is Roman, says PJ. Erase Your Mind said more destruction of human bodies now on AEW Rampage. It's been a long time since I've heard that kind of heat for Paul. It's been a long time since I saw the Bloodline really focusing on an external issue. This is what we've been saying. Like, there's been so much internal strife in the Bloodline since the Sammy thing at the start of the year. I think they need to regroup and look outwards. And I think this new role of Jimmy, where he's just not giving a flip, like, he ain't really falling in line, is he? He's just sort of doing what he wants to do. And, we're meant to sign that off with Roman. All right, check with him then. Not bothered. I ain't going to apologize for what I just did. Just check with him, see what he wants to do. But he ain't giving a flip. He ain't really falling in line. And I agree. I think the Jimmy stuff is actually quite interesting. The way that he's grabbing the mic and talk. He's not standing at the back, letting Heyman do the talking. He's giving the mic, talking away like he's back in the Bloodline but he's not in until Roman says he's in. And at the moment, he's just not like giving much of a flip. And I agree, it's really interesting. And they sent a good message tonight. They sent a good message. And it was nice, actually, to hear the crowd booing the way that they were booing. It was good. Roman missing 2 months of TV makes the show feel empty and lifeless, at least before you could lean on Sammy J and Heyman. Yeah, I'd say that has been a little problem, but that has equally been eased by John Cena. So John Cena being around and the excitement of that, I would argue, has not made it feel lifeless. And obviously The Rock's appearance last week as well. So I think, you're always going to struggle when Roman takes some time away. But I think they've done a pretty good job of bringing in some star power. I mean, you could say that this was a gift, what with it being a writer's strike that kind of landed in their lap. But even so, they did it. They got the job done. They've managed to bring in some big names and still deliver some monster ratings like last week. It'll be interesting to see what this week does. Maybe some people did tune in thinking The Rock was back and that he was now going to be on TV every week. And so maybe this week will do all right because people tuned in. I think they did a good job of, it's cheeky, but they did a good job of saying tonight's special, I'm going to wrestle. And then, of course, he doesn't wrestle. But they teased that he wanted to wrestle. And so it set up the match and everything. So, yeah, it was cheeky, but it was a good way of potentially keeping people around. Did you see that Dana Brooks tweet about her reaction to the release? She said that she always loved WWE. It was an escape. And that's why she put her time and energy. It's a real shame. I didn't, but everyone knows that I really like Dana. I thought that she was a little limited in ring when she got chances to actually show what she could do. I think she showed down in NXT that there wasn't someone there that was going to, light up the women's division. But then you can make the argument of really how much had she, been on TV to improve and learn. I mean, I suppose you could always do that in your spare time. I certainly don't think that she was a disaster or didn't belong or anything like this. I think that she is someone that, could provide something. I enjoyed her when she was in the 24/7 thing. I thought she played that really well. I thought she did really well. I thought she did a really good job. And I was, her and Reggie and are they, aren't they? And I mean, look, it's about as much fun as you're probably going to get with the 24/7 title, right? Certainly after we got past the initial, this can be defended anywhere, anytime, and we did a few on a plane, at a golf course, we did lots in a park, we did lots of different things. Once we got past that, then I thought that her run with it was probably about as good as it got. So I thought that she definitely could bring something. She seemed very dedicated. She seemed very passionate. She seemed like the kind of person that would always give 100%. But I think watching her down in NXT, I would say that watching some of her matches, none of them really shone. And they weren't stinkers, but they were just there. They were just so-so. And I think that for the amount of time that she was with WWE, I think that that probably was her undoing. I think, could she have spent more time like improving her in-ring and really building up the drama and really learning maybe the psychology? But then this is what I'm saying. I mean, she wasn't getting on TV. And even at house shows, her matches aren't going to have been long enough to have been barn burners. So how is she ever meant to learn how to have a great match? Her role was always on a house show to get beat up by Becky Lynch or something, So, like, you don't ever give her that opportunity. So when she goes down to NXT and starts to have some matches where she could lean into that, she doesn't really have the skills there because she's never, had to learn those skills. It's harsh, man. It's harsh. It's a harsh world. It's a harsh world. So, yeah, I feel for her. I think that she definitely, within a company as big as WWE, could have provided something somewhere. I just don't think they could quite find it. I think in ring, she maybe wasn't strong enough. And there's others that surpassed her, is the simple truth. But I always felt that she could have given some. And I would point at her 24/7 run as an example of her like doing something that was interesting, you know. They need Bret Hart to teach everyone psychology. He was the master at making even regular moves look realistic, said Here Is the Thing. Well, they've got Shawn, and Shawn was great as well. I think that had Dana have maybe come through under Shawn and maybe had been starting out now and going through the system now, maybe she could have like got better and been better than like when she came through before. But yeah, she was always someone that even in NXT never quite found her groove. They called her up. She was never champ. She was never close to being champ in NXT. She got called up. We never knew what to do with her. She was put with Titus Worldwide. She was Charlotte's sidekick for a time. She was with Emma for a time. Like, she was in the 24/7 thing. She was in tag teams. And they tried so many different things. And they could just never find the thing that worked and fitted for her. But as I said, I think the 24/7 was as good as it got. But they got rid of that. So you can't use her for that now. And then you look at, like, I don't know, could you not have put her in a tag team? Are you really telling me there was like no girl that she could have been put with where they could have been like the Killer Blondes or something like that, you know? And then like they'd become a female tag team. But then saying that, NXT got rid of its NXT women's tag titles. So it's hard to know how much they care about women's tag teams. So maybe they did just get to the point where they were like, you know what? I think we've reached the end of the road. So, yeah, it is a shame. It is a shame, but business is what business is, isn't it? With the layoffs, will more talent be called up? Maybe. I don't know that they're necessarily clearing room for new call-ups. I think it's more just a review of the budget. It's something that, because they cut people in NXT as well. So, yeah, it's probably freed up some money for them to be able to, like, you know, do a few things. There's a few people that I've seen on Twitter that are speculating and hoping that this is money being freed up to bring in CM Punk. That's what I've seen. I'm just telling you what I've seen. So you've got all kinds of theories and speculation. Shawn was great, but more flashy. Learning his style as well as Bret's Calgary style would give the best of everything, said Here Is the Thing. Dana was in a tag team with Mandy. She was the GOAT of the 24/7. Acknowledge her, says John. What year was Jay White era begin? What year did Jay White era begin? What do you mean? I mean, in New Japan. He was on excursion, wasn't he? And then I remember him coming back and starting, but I mean, I want to say like 2018, 2019. Definitely before pandemic hit. But not like going back to 2015 or anything, because he was someone that had been to Mexico and all this kind of stuff. I remember his early matches when he first came back to New Japan. And he was being billed as like, you know, this is the next big thing. And I remember watching him thinking like he was all right. But I wasn't seeing the next card. I wasn't seeing the next guy that was going to take the company forward for the next 10 years. I was seeing someone that was good and solid, but I wasn't seeing that person. But he grew into it and he became their champion and he was involved in lots of different storylines and he was good on the mic, really good on the mic. And then I don't know why he didn't re-sign with New Japan. I'm not sure of what the situation was. Maybe it's just that he wanted to see what it was like in America. And I think WWE were interested, but unfortunately there was a bit of a buy-in freeze. There's quite a few stars WWE probably could have picked up, and Switchblade was one. But they didn't. And my understanding is that largely it was AEW that came in more than WWE, and so he's ended up going there. So yeah, he's over there. Whether he'll leave them and go to WWE at some point in the future, I'm not sure. I'd like to see it. As I said, I think he's an incredible talent, and if they can build him, like they've got a sleeping giant there. I think they've got someone that could be their Seth Rollins that's in the company. but it's just, can you get the right story and build them up? I do like him and Juice Robinson. I do like Bullet Club Golds. I suppose the only problem is they're on the show that just gets like not that many views. It's 400, 500,000. Maybe you make the argument that they should be on Wednesday and maybe the Elite should be on a Saturday. Because the Elite have already got a dedicated fan base. Maybe, like, Bullet Club Gold are just starting from nothing. Ricky Starks is starting from nothing. There's a lot of people on Collision that are starting from nothing, that are trying to build. And, like, the Elite, everyone knows the Elite. But then, would Dynamite's numbers drop too much if you didn't have Kenny and the Bucks on Dynamite? It's a conundrum, isn't it? It's something that Tony's going to have to try and work out eventually. How do you think WWE will respond to the 1.3 next week? They need to put their best foot forwards. They do. I mean, whether they can get some surprises going and whatever. I mean, you need to advertise something quite juicy to get people to check it out in the first place. So the advert that I saw here looked okay, but I still don't know that it's going to really do a great deal. So do you need a surprise? Do you need someone to come in? I mean, you're not going to get The Rock. Plus, you've already just done that on SmackDown. I mean, it would still be big, but I don't know. I really don't know who else you go and get. I think, didn't USA say that they wanted some SmackDown stars coming over? So maybe we do get some SmackDown stars coming over. Perhaps we see the likes of LA Knight being used a bit more on Raw. Have to see. If you like Bullet Club Golds, why don't you watch it? Who cares about the ratings? If you like a wrestling show, watch the wrestling show if you like it. Yeah, I like Bullet Club Golds. The reason I don't watch it is because Saturday is one of the most competitive days of the week. So we watch UFC, we watch boxing. The amount of people that join us for those streams is quite strong. So for UFC, we'll tend to do about 10,000 people that will join us for UFC. And that's on a quiet week. On a busy week, it can be 50, 60. I think a few weeks ago, we did 90,000 people that joined us for UFC. Compare that to a show that's getting 400,000, 500,000 people that are watching it. It would kind of suggest that those are similar numbers to NXT. So that would sort of suggest that the streams would do about 3,000. So if I look at what the community are engaged with, it's undeniable the community is more engaged with UFC than they would be with Collision. So Collision, to me, if it was on a Thursday and there was no competition, then we would look to watch it. But it's up against some big stuff. I mean, and plus the other thing is, not only does the community seem more engaged with UFC on a Saturday, but of course the community is more engaged with WWE pay-per-views, which are also on a Saturday. So you wouldn't be able to watch Collision every week because once a month, you've got a WWE show. Once a month, you're going to have to prioritize that. And I've tried the watching two things at the same time. You don't get a good experience because you're missing the little details, which are hard for me to get anyway, because I'm reading your chats and everything. I'm not watching the TV constantly. So even getting the details, just watching one show is difficult. Trying to watch two at the same time, impossible, horrible. Wouldn't even do it. So if I can't watch Collision every week, then it begs the question, what's the point in watching it at all? Because you're not going to be able to get invested in the storylines. People are going to be confused as to when you're watching it and when you're not watching it. And it's just going to be really bitty. And plus, every week I'd have the conversation of, are you doing Collision this week? Are you doing Collision this week? Are you doing Collision this week? And it's just not worth it, is it? It's not worth it. So I do like them and I would watch them. But it's just the worst night of the week. It's just Saturday. And I'm not alone in that, because I think there's a good chunk of people in the same boat. Hence why Dynamite does 800,000 and Collision does 500,000. There's a good chunk of people. And that's not even international. That's just America. There's 400,000 people in America alone that I think aren't able to watch it on the Saturday. that would be much bigger internationally as well. I think that's the same picture all over the world. So that's why we don't watch Collision. I've said before, I think Collision would be the show out of all of AEW shows that I would be most into. It's the show I'd be most entertained by. It's the show that I think appeals to me the most. Certainly FTR, CM Punk, Ricky Starks, Bullet Club Golds. I mean, you are hitting like a lot of the names that I enjoy. So it is frustrating. I'd love them to swap them round. Put Dynamite on a Saturday, put Collision on a Wednesday. Lovely. Who knows, though, when their TV deals come up, who knows? I mean, we could find ourselves in the future with Collision moving away from Saturday, being picked up by a different network, maybe going to a Thursday or a Sunday or something different. And who knows? Maybe we will then be able to start doing it. But sadly, at the moment, not possible. Don't waste your time, said Sakilla. Matt Hardy's on Collision now. Okay. Saturday is tougher than Friday's, low numbers, and now it's becoming like Dynamite with storylines all over the place. I can't see any improvements. I have heard this. I have heard that the show has took a bit of a hit. I do like Bryan Danielson. So him spearheading the show, Ricky Starks, Switchblade, Bullet Club Gold, FTR, Samoa Joe. I mean, like there is enough there for me to get excited about. It's a show I would definitely watch. I would watch it. And I'm not alone in that. I think a lot of people would watch it as well. But I have heard that recently it has started to like struggle a little bit with its stories and whatever. So I don't know, maybe it's a blip. I mean, they are going into uncharted water because you've got to think their plans included CM Punk, and CM Punk ain't around anymore. So you've got to think that they definitely were expecting Punk to be involved in this. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out in the end. But that's the reasons why. It's certainly nothing personal to AEW other than the day that they chose to put the show on. Right. Days 12, 17 weeks of Judgment Day. Sammy KO in various matches. How many times can you brainwash people? Well, yeah, they ran it too many times, didn't they? I mean, it's clear. Ran it too many times. So there was no progression in the story. I think they didn't really know what to do with Cody. If we're being honest, I don't think they knew what to do with Cody after Brock. And I also think that KO and Sammy against Judgment Day was a feud that they wanted to do. And I don't think they really quite knew where that was going. I do wonder if they had plans to split Judgment Day and then change their minds, or if the story has gone the way that it was intended to go. I really don't know. I don't know if they thought that this was the right thing to do, tease it and then not do it, or if they were going to split them and then they decided, actually, no, we'll put the tag titles on them, we'll keep them around. So I agree. It's not felt like a really satisfying story that's, moved along nicely. It's felt like a skipping record, hasn't it? It's felt very much that way. Like there is a song there and it sounds quite good, but it can't get past this certain bit. Like it just keeps skipping. So yeah, I would say it's not been the strongest time for WWE post SummerSlam. And also the fact that we're struggling with like big shows to end the year out with, like it's just not giving us that kind of show to work towards. But Fastlane's getting closer. So we've definitely seen some movement tonight, and hopefully that will show itself on Raw as well. Right, we stuck around for a little bit longer than I was expecting, but I do not begrudge you that, my friends. I'm going to go away, work on maybe a quick little video, and I'm also going to work on the recap video. A big thank you to everyone that checks them out. They do take a little bit of time to do, and I'm trying to make them better by using actual footage. I think that's more engaging. So I have to be a little careful with doing that, and something that I'm still not 100% sure about, but I am trying to make them as good as possible. And they're just like quick 3-4 minute recaps of the shows, which I think are quite useful. And I also think if you want a refresh of the week before, it's just a great refresh, like for the week before. So I think there is some value to them, hence why I keep doing them. And I'll do one for this week as well, but they do take a few hours just to put together. So I'm going to go off and work on those little bits. We are back tomorrow with UFC, and it's a little bit earlier as well. I think it's about like 3 o'clock Eastern, something like that. It's an early one. I'm not sure why. So we've got that tomorrow, and there will be a Sunday stream. We are doing these weekly Sunday streams as well. That will probably be about 6 Eastern on the channel. We will get our teeth into a subject. I would guess the subject will probably be the releases and Riddle. That certainly feels like the biggest story at the moment. So I'm guessing like we'll have a conversation, maybe talk about who AEW could pick up, what the future could be, dig into that. Obviously, there might be some more news that kind of comes through, but I could see that being the conversation for Sunday. So we'll be doing that as well. So we ain't going anywhere. Plenty of streams on the way this weekend. So a big thank you to everyone that's joined us tonight. Really appreciate the support. A decent little episode, I thought. And hopefully I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.